Millionaire Morning Routine 1. Flip the switch. Why mornings make millionaires. The alarm sounds at 5:30 a.m. Two people wake up in similar homes, with similar jobs, and similar dreams of building wealth. One reaches for their phone, scrolls through messages, and stumbles into the day reactive and scattered. The other takes a deep breath, follows a deliberate sequence of actions, and creates meaningful progress before most people finish their first cup of coffee. 12 months later, their bank accounts, stress levels, and quality of life tell completely different stories. The difference isn't talent, luck, or family connections. The difference is understanding a simple truth that wealthy people have known for generations. The first 2 hours of your day determine your income, your impact, and your stress level for the remaining 14 hours. When you flip the switch on your morning, you flip the switch on your entire life. Most people treat mornings like a necessary evil, something to survive before the real day begins. They hit snooze 3 times, grab whatever clothes are closest, gulp down coffee while checking emails, and arrive at their most important work already depleted. They wonder why they feel behind, why they're always reactive, why their biggest goals remain frustratingly out of reach. They've handed over their most valuable hours to chaos and called it normal. Wealthy people see mornings differently. They understand that the early hours offer something precious that disappears as the day progresses: silence, focus, and complete control over their attention. While the world sleeps, they work on their most important projects. While others react to urgent demands, they create value. While most people start their day responding to other people's priorities, millionaires begin by advancing their own. This isn't about waking up at some extreme hour or following a rigid routine that makes you miserable. This is about recognizing that your morning hours are your most powerful tool for creating the life you want. Every wealthy person has discovered this truth in their own way, whether they built their fortune through business, investing, real estate, or any other path. They learn to treat their first 90 to 120 minutes as sacred time, protected from the noise and demands that consume the rest of the day. The science backs up what successful people have always known intuitively. Your willpower, decision-making ability, and creative thinking are strongest in the morning. Your brain produces the most clarity-enhancing neurochemicals during the first few hours after waking. Your ability to focus deeply on complex tasks peaks before the day's distractions accumulate. Every hour you wait to tackle your most important work is an hour when your mental capacity diminishes. But here's what makes morning routines truly powerful. They compound. A single good morning might give you a slight edge. A week of intentional mornings creates noticeable momentum. A month of consistent morning practices generates dramatic results. A year of owning your first 2 hours transforms not just what you accomplish, but who you become. The habits you build in the morning ripple through every area of your life, creating success patterns that feel almost automatic. Think about your current relationship with mornings. Do you wake up with excitement about the day ahead, or do you dread the alarm? Do you feel energized and focused by 9 a.m., or are you still trying to catch up? Do you start each day making progress on your biggest goals, or do you spend the first hours just trying to get organized? Your honest answers reveal whether you're using your most valuable time to create wealth or simply to recover from yesterday. The wealthy treat their morning routine like a business system, not a random collection of healthy habits. Every element serves a purpose: increasing energy, sharpening focus, or advancing their most important objectives. They don't include activities because they sound impressive or because some expert recommended them. They choose practices that deliver measurable results in terms of clarity, productivity, and progress toward their financial goals. Your morning win statement becomes the foundation of this system. This isn't a vague intention to be more productive or a generic goal to exercise more. Your morning win statement defines exactly what success looks like before 9 a.m. It might be completing your most important creative work, making progress on a side business, or developing a skill that increases your value in the marketplace. The statement gives you a clear target that transforms random morning activities into a focused success ritual. Within this framework, you need 3 non-negotiables. The minimum actions that must happen every morning, regardless of circumstances. These aren't complex or time-consuming practices. They're simple behaviors that create the foundation for everything else. One might be getting natural light within 5 minutes of waking. Another might be writing down your single most important task for the day. The third might be spending 10 minutes on a project that could generate additional income. The key is choosing non-negotiables that you can realistically maintain even on difficult days. When you're traveling, when you're stressed, when life throws unexpected challenges your way, you can still execute these 3 core practices. They become your minimum viable morning, the baseline that keeps your momentum alive when everything else feels chaotic. Most people fail with morning routines because they try to change everything at once. They design elaborate systems with 8 different components and expect to maintain them perfectly from day one. When they inevitably miss a day or skip a step, they abandon the entire effort. The wealthy take a different approach. They start with their 3 non-negotiables and commit to 30 days of consistency. Only after these basic practices become automatic do they consider adding additional elements. This 30-day baseline period serves a crucial purpose beyond habit formation. It gives you real data about what works in your specific situation. You discover which practices actually increase your energy versus which ones feel like obligations. You learn how much time you truly need versus how much you think you need. You identify the obstacles that derail your routine and develop strategies to overcome them. The metric for this first phase is elegantly simple. Achieve 1 meaningful win before 9 a.m., 5 days per week. Not 7 days, because perfectionism kills progress. Not 3 days, because occasional effort creates occasional results. 5 days per week builds real momentum while acknowledging that life sometimes interferes with even the best plans. A meaningful win isn't answering emails or organizing your desk. It's making tangible progress on something that matters to your long-term success. It might be writing 500 words of a book that could establish you as an expert in your field. It could be researching investment opportunities that might generate passive income. It might be practicing a presentation that could lead to a promotion or a new business. The win has to move you closer to your financial goals, not just make you feel busy. This creates a completely different relationship with your days. Instead of hoping to find time for important work, you begin each day having already accomplished something significant. Instead of ending days feeling behind, you build a track record of consistent progress. Instead of depending on motivation or perfect conditions, you develop systems that work regardless of how you feel. The transformation doesn't happen overnight, but it happens remarkably quickly once you commit to the process. Within 2 weeks, you'll notice increased mental clarity and reduced stress. Within a month, you'll have made more progress on your most important goals than you typically make in 3 months. Within 90 days, people will start asking, "What's different about you?" The mantra that captures this entire philosophy is simple but profound. Own the morning, rent the rest. The hours after 9 a.m. belong to your job, your family, and the 1,000 small demands that fill every day. But those first precious hours are yours to invest in the future you're building. When you own them completely, when you use them strategically, when you protect them fiercely, everything else becomes easier. Tomorrow morning, you have a choice. You can hit snooze and stumble into another reactive day, or you can flip the switch and start building the wealth-creating habits that successful people have used for generations. The alarm will sound either way. The question is, what you'll do with the opportunity it represents. 2. Win tomorrow tonight. The 9 p.m. rule. The difference between a millionaire morning and a chaotic scramble doesn't begin when your alarm goes off. It starts exactly 12 hours earlier, when you make the conscious decision to close one day properly so the next can open with power. This is the foundation that most people miss entirely, and it's why their mornings feel like emergency response instead of strategic execution. Your evening ritual determines whether you wake up as a leader or a reactor. When you stumble into bed without preparation, checking your phone one last time before closing your eyes, you're programming your subconscious for disorder. Your mind churns through incomplete tasks, unresolved decisions, and the mental debris of an unfinished day. You might fall asleep eventually, but you're not setting yourself up for the kind of rest that produces morning clarity. Wealthy people understand that the evening is when tomorrow's success gets engineered. They don't leave their most important day to chance or mood or motivation. They create what I call the evening success protocol, a 20-minute investment that pays compound interest in focus, energy, and execution for the next 16 hours. The first element of winning tomorrow tonight is the calendar sweep. This isn't just glancing at your schedule. This is a deliberate review of every commitment, every deadline, every opportunity that's approaching. You're looking for conflicts, gaps, and priorities. You're asking yourself what absolutely must happen tomorrow and what would be nice to happen. This sweep allows your subconscious to begin processing and organizing while you sleep, instead of leaving your mind to wrestle with uncertainty. During this sweep, you're identifying what I call your one domino for tomorrow. This is the single most important task that, when completed, will create the greatest positive impact on your goals. It's not the easiest task or the most urgent email. It's the action that moves the needle furthest toward your bigger vision. Choosing this domino the night before removes the mental energy waste of decision-making when your willpower is fresh in the morning. The physical preparation is just as crucial as the mental preparation. Laying out your clothes eliminates decision fatigue before breakfast. Staging your workspace means your environment supports your intentions instead of creating friction. If your one domino requires specific materials, documents, or tools, they should be ready and waiting. You're removing every possible excuse and obstacle between your morning self and productive action. This preparation extends to your technology boundaries. The wealthy don't let their devices dictate their energy or attention, especially in the hours before sleep. A tech curfew isn't about being anti-technology. It's about being pro-human. The blue light from screens disrupts your natural sleep preparation. The mental stimulation from messages, news, and entertainment keeps your nervous system activated when it should be winding down. More importantly, consuming other people's priorities right before bed means you're programming your subconscious with their agenda instead of your own. Your bedroom should become a sanctuary for rest and recovery, not a second office or entertainment center. The most successful people treat their sleep environment with the same respect they give their boardroom or workspace. Temperature, lighting, and noise levels all matter. Your phone should be charging in another room or at minimum in airplane mode and out of arm's reach. This isn't extreme. This is what people do when they value their mornings enough to protect their nights. The evening review isn't complete without acknowledging what worked during the day just ending. This isn't elaborate journaling or lengthy reflection. It's simply recognizing the wins, the progress, the moments when you showed up as the person you're becoming. This positive programming helps you sleep with satisfaction instead of stress, and it builds confidence for tomorrow's challenges. Your mind is most programmable in the minutes before sleep. Whatever thoughts and images occupy this space will influence your subconscious processing throughout the night. Instead of replaying problems or worrying about tomorrow's difficulties, you can visualize yourself executing your one domino successfully. See yourself moving through your morning routine with energy and purpose. Picture the satisfaction of completing your most important task before most people have checked their first email. The timing of this evening protocol matters as much as the content. Starting your shutdown routine at the same time each night creates a biological rhythm that supports both better sleep and more consistent wake times. Your body begins preparing for rest before you even realize it. This isn't rigid scheduling for its own sake. This is working with your natural physiology instead of fighting against it. Most people underestimate how much their evening habits impact their earning potential. When you're constantly recovering from poor sleep, making decisions with a foggy mind, or spending your first hour awake just figuring out what to do, you're operating at a fraction of your capability. The compound effect of this diminished capacity over weeks, months, and years represents millions of dollars in lost opportunity, innovation, and impact. The evening success protocol isn't complicated, but it requires the discipline to prioritize your future self over your current impulses. It means choosing preparation over entertainment, boundaries over convenience, intentionality over default behaviors. The 20 minutes you invest in closing today properly will save you hours tomorrow, and set you up for the kind of focused execution that creates disproportionate results. Your evening routine should feel like closing a business properly at the end of a successful day. Accounts balanced, inventory organized, priorities clarified, stage set for tomorrow's opening. You're not just going to bed, you're completing one cycle of success and preparing to begin the next one with maximum advantage. The 9 p.m. rule isn't about the exact time on the clock. It's about having a non-negotiable moment each day when you shift from execution mode to preparation mode. For some people, this happens at 8 p.m. For others, it might be 10 p.m. What matters is consistency and completeness. You're training your mind and body to recognize when one day ends and the next begins to take shape. When you master the art of winning tomorrow tonight, your mornings transform from reactive scrambling to proactive leadership. You wake up knowing exactly what needs to happen and exactly how to make it happen. Your energy is focused, your priorities are clear, and your environment supports your success. This is how millionaires think about time. This is how they create the conditions for consistent high performance. This is how they turn ordinary mornings into extraordinary launching pads for wealth creation. Close the day, open the future. Make this your evening mantra, and watch how powerfully your mornings begin to serve your biggest ambitions. 3. Wake up on purpose. Your non-negotiable wake time. The alarm screams at 5:30 a.m. Your hand shoots out from under the covers, slapping the snooze button with the precision of a trained assassin. 9 minutes later, the cycle repeats, then again. By the time you actually drag yourself out of bed, it's 6:15 a.m., your morning routine is shot, and you're already running behind before your feet hit the floor. Sound familiar? You're not alone. Most people treat their wake time like a suggestion rather than an appointment with their future wealth. They let their emotions decide whether today is the day they'll stick to their routine or sleep in just this once. This single decision or lack of decision creates a ripple effect that destroys momentum before the day even begins. Here's what the wealthy understand that everyone else misses. Consistency creates capacity. Your wake time isn't just about getting up early. It's about training your nervous system to trust you, stabilizing your energy throughout the day, and creating a foundation so solid that everything else in your routine becomes effortless. Think about it this way. Every time you hit snooze, you're negotiating with yourself. You're teaching your subconscious mind that your commitments are optional, that your word to yourself doesn't matter, and that comfort trumps growth. This pattern doesn't stay contained to your morning routine. It bleeds into every area of your life. You'll negotiate with yourself about making that difficult phone call, finishing that important project, or having that crucial conversation with your business partner. Millionaires don't negotiate with their alarm clock because they understand that how you do one thing is how you do everything. When you honor your wake time commitment, you're actually strengthening your ability to follow through on all commitments. You're building what psychologists call self-efficacy, the belief that you can do what you say you'll do. The magic isn't in waking up at 5 a.m. specifically. Some of the wealthiest people in history were night owls who woke up at 7 a.m. or even later. The magic is in the consistency. Your body and brain crave predictability. When you wake up at the same time every day, your circadian rhythm aligns with your schedule. Your energy becomes stable. Your willpower reserves are fuller because you're not depleting them with internal negotiations every morning. Let's talk about how to make this happen in the real world. First, you need to back calculate from your bedtime. If you need 7 hours of sleep and you want to wake up at 6 a.m., you need to be asleep by 11 p.m., not getting into bed at 11 p.m. Actually asleep. This means lights out by 10:45 p.m. at the latest, accounting for the time it takes to fall asleep. Most people get this backward. They pick a wake time that sounds impressive or fits their ideal schedule, then try to force their bedtime to work around it. This approach fails because it ignores the reality of how much sleep your body actually needs. Start with your natural sleep requirement, then work backward to find your ideal wake time. Once you've identified your target wake time, you need a system that makes getting up automatic rather than optional. This is where the 2-alarm system comes into play. Set your first alarm for your target wake time and place it across the room. Set a second alarm for 5 minutes later as your backup. The key is that both alarms must be physically removed from your bedside. When the first alarm goes off, you have to get out of bed to turn it off. Once you're standing, the hardest part is over. But here's where most people sabotage themselves. They turn off the alarm and then crawl back into bed, just for a minute. To prevent this, create what I call a feet-on-floor script. The moment your feet touch the ground, you immediately perform 3 actions without thinking. Turn off the alarm, turn on the lights, and drink a full glass of water. These actions send a clear signal to your brain that sleep time is over and wake time has begun. The water is particularly important because dehydration is one of the primary reasons people feel groggy in the morning. After 6 to 8 hours without fluid intake, your body is literally running on empty. That glass of water kickstarts your metabolism and begins the rehydration process that your body desperately needs. Now, let's address the elephant in the room: weekends. This is where most people's consistency falls apart. They maintain their wake time Monday through Friday, then sleep in until 9 a.m. or later on Saturday and Sunday. They think they're giving themselves a reward, but they're actually sabotaging their entire system. Here's the compromise that actually works: the weekend same time rule with 30-minute flex. You can sleep in, but not more than 30 minutes past your regular wake time. If you normally wake up at 6 a.m., you can sleep until 6:30 a.m. on weekends, but no later. This small buffer gives you the psychological relief of sleeping in without destroying the circadian rhythm you've worked all week to establish. Think of your wake time like a bank account. Every day you honor it, you make a deposit. Every day you sleep in significantly, you make a withdrawal. The goal is to keep your account in the positive. A 30-minute variance maintains your balance. A 2-hour weekend sleep-in creates a deficit that takes several days to recover from. This is why Monday mornings feel so brutal after a weekend of erratic sleep schedules. You're not just tired from staying up late. You're experiencing the biological equivalent of jet lag as your body tries to readjust to your weekday schedule. The wealthy avoid this entirely by maintaining consistency 7 days a week, with only minor variations. But what about those days when you genuinely need extra sleep? Maybe you were up late with a family emergency or working on a crucial deadline. The key is to make these exceptions truly exceptional, not routine. If you need to sleep in more than 30 minutes, do it consciously and get back to your regular schedule the very next day. Don't let one late night turn into a week of schedule chaos. The real breakthrough comes when you realize that your wake time variance should be no more than 20 minutes for 14 consecutive days. This level of consistency transforms your entire nervous system. Your energy becomes predictable. Your focus sharpens. Your willpower strengthens because you're not depleting it with morning negotiations. More importantly, this consistency creates what I call morning momentum. When your body knows exactly when it's going to wake up, it begins preparing naturally. Your core temperature starts rising about an hour before your alarm. Your cortisol levels begin their natural morning climb. Your brain starts shifting from deep sleep to lighter sleep phases. You begin waking up naturally just before your alarm goes off, feeling refreshed rather than jarred awake. This is the difference between fighting your biology and working with it. When you maintain a consistent wake time, you're not forcing yourself out of bed against your body's wishes. You're training your body to want to wake up at that time. The resistance disappears, and getting up becomes as natural as breathing. Remember, the wealthy don't rely on motivation to wake up early. They rely on systems. They rely on consistency. They rely on the compound effect of small, daily commitments that build into life-changing momentum. Your wake time is the first domino of your entire day. When you control that domino with precision and consistency, everything else becomes easier. The alarm goes off, and life turns on. Not eventually, not when you feel ready, not when conditions are perfect. Right now, with purpose, with consistency, with the unshakable commitment of someone who understands that their future wealth begins the moment their feet hit the floor. 4. Light, hydrate, oxygenate. The 3-minute launch. Your alarm goes off, and in the next 3 minutes, you have the power to flip a biological switch that determines whether you spend the day sharp as a blade or stumbling through mental fog. Most people waste this critical window rolling over for 5 more minutes, checking their phone, or shuffling to the coffee maker in a half-conscious daze. Wealthy achievers know better. They understand that the first 180 seconds after waking contain a biochemical opportunity that can transform not just their morning, but their entire trajectory. The moment you open your eyes, your body is running on yesterday's chemistry. Your brain is still producing melatonin, the sleep hormone that keeps you drowsy. Your cells are dehydrated from 8 hours without water. Your nervous system hasn't yet shifted from the parasympathetic rest mode to the alert, focused state you need for peak performance. Left to its own devices, your body might take 30 to 60 minutes to naturally complete this transition, but you don't have to wait. You can take control and accelerate this process dramatically. The 3-part launch sequence, light, hydrate, oxygenate, works because it speaks directly to your biology, not your willpower. Each element triggers a specific physiological response that compounds with the others, creating a cascade of alertness, clarity, and readiness that no amount of motivation alone can match. This isn't about forcing yourself to feel awake. It's about giving your body exactly what it needs to naturally shift into high-performance mode. Light is your first and most powerful tool. The moment natural light hits your retinas, it sends a direct signal to your suprachiasmatic nucleus, your body's master clock. This tiny cluster of cells in your brain immediately begins shutting down melatonin production while ramping up cortisol, your natural wake-up hormone. But here's what most people miss. The light has to be bright enough, and it has to come through your eyes, not through closed eyelids or windows. You need to physically get yourself outside, or at least near a bright window within those first few minutes of waking. This isn't about sunbathing or complex light therapy devices. A simple walk to your front door, stepping onto a balcony, or even sitting by a large window will do. If it's still dark outside, turn on the brightest lights in your home and face them directly for 30 seconds. The key is intensity and immediacy. Your circadian rhythm responds to contrast, so the brighter the light compared to the darkness you just left, the stronger the wake-up signal. The second element, water, seems almost too simple to matter, but it triggers a cascade of benefits that wealthy high performers have understood for decades. After 8 hours without fluid intake, your blood volume has decreased, making your heart work harder to pump oxygen and nutrients to your brain. Your cells are literally thirsty, and this dehydration directly impacts cognitive function, mood, and energy levels. Even mild dehydration of just 2% can reduce mental performance by 10% or more. But water does more than just rehydrate you. The act of drinking a full glass of cool water stimulates your vagus nerve and activates your sympathetic nervous system, both of which contribute to increased alertness. The temperature contrast, if the water is cooler than your body temperature, provides an additional, gentle wake-up signal. Some of the most successful people make this even more powerful by adding a pinch of natural salt or a squeeze of lemon, which helps with absorption and provides additional minerals that support optimal brain function. The timing matters as much as the quantity. You want to drink this water immediately after getting light exposure, before you do anything else. Not sips, but a full glass consumed steadily over 30 to 60 seconds. Your body has been in repair mode all night, and this surge of hydration signals that it's time to shift into active performance mode. The third element, focused breathing, might be the most underestimated tool in your wake-up arsenal. Most people breathe unconsciously, letting their respiratory system run on autopilot. But conscious, intentional breathing for just 60 to 90 seconds can dramatically alter your state of mind and body. Deep breathing increases oxygen flow to your brain, activates your parasympathetic nervous system in a way that actually increases calm alertness, and gives you immediate control over your physiology. The technique itself is beautifully simple. Once you've gotten light and water, stand or sit with your spine straight and take slow, deep breaths through your nose. Breathe in for a count of 4, letting your belly expand rather than lifting your chest. Hold for a count of 4, then exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 6. The longer exhale is crucial because it activates your body's relaxation response while keeping you alert, creating what high performers call calm focus. the optimal state for decision-making and concentration. What makes this breathing window so powerful is that you're catching your nervous system at a transition point where it's most responsive to direction. You're essentially telling your body, we're awake now, but we're in control. We're alert but not anxious, focused but not frantic. This sets a tone of intentional calm that can carry through your entire day. The magic happens when you combine all three elements in rapid succession. Light signals your brain to stop producing sleep hormones and start producing alertness hormones. Water floods your system with the hydration needed for optimal brain function while providing a physical wake-up stimulus. Breathing gives you immediate, conscious control over your state while increasing oxygen flow to support the mental clarity you're about to need. The entire sequence takes 3 minutes or less, but the neurochemical changes begin immediately and compound throughout your morning. People who consistently use this launch protocol report feeling more alert within minutes instead of waiting 30 to 60 minutes for their natural wake-up process. They describe having clearer thinking, more stable energy, and a sense of being in control of their day from the very first moments. The beauty of the 3-minute launch is that it works regardless of how much sleep you got, what time you went to bed, or whether you're naturally a morning person. It's not dependent on your genetics or your willpower. It's simply giving your biology what it needs to function at its best. You're not fighting against your natural systems, you're optimizing them. Most successful people develop slight variations of this sequence that work with their specific living situation and preferences. Some do their breathing while standing in natural light. Others drink their water outside while getting light exposure simultaneously. The key is maintaining the integrity of all three elements while making the routine sustainable for your lifestyle. The goal isn't to become someone you're not in those 3 minutes. It's to become the best version of yourself by working with your body's natural systems instead of against them. Every minute you spend stumbling through mental fog in the morning is a minute stolen from your potential. Every day you rely on willpower instead of biology to feel alert is a day you're fighting an unnecessary battle. When you nail the 3-minute launch consistently, something remarkable happens. Your morning energy becomes predictable and reliable instead of random and dependent on external factors. You stop needing to wait for the coffee to kick in or give yourself time to wake up. You're alert, focused, and ready to tackle your most important work within minutes of opening your eyes. This isn't about becoming a morning person if you're naturally a night owl. It's about maximizing the biology you already have and setting yourself up for peak performance regardless of your natural tendencies. Light, hydration, and breath are non-negotiables for optimal human function. The 3-minute launch simply ensures you get them at the moment when they can do the most good. Tomorrow morning, your alarm will go off just like it always does. But now you know that the next 3 minutes contain a choice that will ripple through every hour that follows. You can stumble through them unconsciously, or you can use them to flip the switch from sleep mode to success mode. Light first, water fast, breathe like a champion. In 180 seconds, you'll be ready to own the day. 5. Move. First, 7-minute mobility for moneymakers. Your body holds the key to your bank account. This might sound like mystical nonsense, but it's biological fact. The moment you move your muscles, you trigger a cascade of neurochemicals that sharpen your mind, elevate your mood, and prime your nervous system for peak performance. Yet most people stumble through their mornings like zombies, wondering why they lack energy, focus, and drive. The wealthy understand something most don't. Motion creates emotion, and emotion drives action. While others reach for coffee to jolt themselves awake, millionaires reach for movement. They know that 7 minutes of purposeful motion can generate more sustained energy than any stimulant, more clarity than any meditation, and more confidence than any affirmation. Think about the last time you felt truly unstoppable. Chances are, your body was engaged, your blood was flowing, and your muscles were alive. This isn't coincidence. Movement awakens every system in your body simultaneously. Your heart pumps faster, delivering oxygen to your brain. Your muscles release stored tension from yesterday's stress. Your breathing deepens, flooding your cells with fresh energy. Most importantly, movement triggers the release of dopamine, the neurochemical of motivation and reward-seeking behavior. This is why successful people move first and think second. They understand that a sluggish body creates a sluggish mind, while an energized body creates an energized bank account. The connection between physical vitality and financial vitality isn't metaphorical. It's measurable. Studies show that people who exercise in the morning report higher energy levels, better decision-making, and increased productivity throughout their entire day. They negotiate better deals, think more creatively, and maintain focus longer than their sedentary counterparts. But here's where most people go wrong. They think morning movement means marathon training or grueling gym sessions. They picture hour-long workouts, expensive equipment, and complex routines that require perfect conditions. When life gets busy or travel disrupts their schedule, their movement habit disappears entirely. This all-or-nothing approach is the enemy of consistency, and consistency is the mother of all wealth. The Millionaire's approach is different. It's built on the principle of minimum effective dose, 7 minutes. That's all you need to flip the switch from foggy to focused, from tired to energized, from reactive to proactive. 7 minutes that fit into any schedule, require no equipment, and work in any space larger than a closet. 7 minutes that compound into extraordinary results when practiced daily. This isn't about getting fit, though that's a pleasant side effect. This is about optimizing your biochemistry for wealth creation. Every squat primes your legs for standing strong in negotiations. Every push movement builds the physical power that translates to mental power. Every stretch releases the physical tension that clouds judgment and creativity. You're not just exercising your body. You're exercising your capacity to generate income. The 7-minute Millionaire mobility sequence is designed around functional movement patterns that your body craves after hours of sleep. Your muscles have been dormant, your joints have been compressed, and your circulation has been sluggish. This routine awakens everything systematically, like starting a high-performance engine with precision rather than jamming the accelerator and hoping for the best. Start with squats, the king of all movements. Place your feet shoulder-width apart and lower your body as if sitting in an invisible chair. Keep your chest up, your weight on your heels, and descend until your thighs are parallel to the floor. Drive through your heels to return to standing. This movement activates your largest muscle groups, fires up your cardiovascular system, and sends a wake-up signal to your entire nervous system. Aim for 1 minute of steady, controlled repetitions. Next, engage your upper body with push movements. If you can do push-ups from your toes, excellent. If not, modify by placing your hands on a bed, chair, or wall. The goal isn't to impress anyone. It's to move your body through a natural pressing pattern that opens your chest, engages your core, and activates the muscles you'll need for confident posture throughout your day. Strong posture commands respect, and respect commands higher prices for your time and expertise. Follow this with hinge movements, the foundation of a powerful posterior chain. Stand with feet hip-width apart, soften your knees slightly, and push your hips back as if you're trying to touch a wall behind you with your backside. Keep your chest up and your spine neutral as you feel a stretch in your hamstrings. Drive your hips forward to return to standing. This movement counteracts hours of sitting and sleeping in a curled position, opening up your body and creating the physical presence that successful people naturally command. Balance your push movements with pulling motions. If you have a resistance band, use it. If not, perform reverse flies by extending your arms to your sides and squeezing your shoulder blades together, or do bent-over reverse flies with imaginary weights. The key is to activate the muscles between your shoulder blades that create upright, confident posture. Rounded shoulders signal submission and insecurity. Pulled back shoulders signal leadership and competence. Your hips hold enormous power, both literally and figuratively. Hip openers release stored tension and increase your range of motion. Step 1 foot forward into a lunge position, lower your back knee toward the ground, and gently rock forward and back to open the hip flexors of your trailing leg. Switch sides and repeat. These muscles tighten from sitting and sleeping, creating physical restrictions that mirror mental and financial restrictions. Open hips create open possibilities. Rotate your thoracic spine to maintain the mobility that creates fluid, graceful movement. Place your hands behind your head, keep your lower body stable, and rotate your upper body left and right like you're looking over your shoulders. This movement keeps your spine healthy and your nervous system functioning optimally. A mobile spine supports a mobile mind, and a mobile mind spots opportunities that rigid thinking misses. Finish with a plank, the ultimate full-body integration exercise. Start in a push-up position with your forearms on the ground, elbows under your shoulders, and body in a straight line from head to heels. Engage your core, squeeze your glutes, and breathe steadily while holding this position. The plank builds the core stability that supports confident movement and posture throughout your day. More importantly, it builds the mental fortitude to hold difficult positions until you achieve your desired outcome. The beauty of this sequence lies in its simplicity and scalability. Beginners can perform each movement for 30 seconds, with 30 seconds of rest between exercises. Advanced movers can increase the intensity, add repetitions, or extend the duration. The specific parameters matter less than the consistency. Your goal is to move your body through these natural patterns every single morning, creating a foundation of physical competence that supports everything else you do. Don't underestimate the psychological impact of completing this sequence before your day officially begins. You've already accomplished something meaningful before most people have finished hitting their snooze buttons. This early victory creates momentum that carries into every subsequent activity. You've proven to yourself that you can commit to something and follow through. This self-trust is the bedrock of all achievement. The timing is crucial. This movement must happen before you check your phone, open your email, or engage with the outside world. Once you let external demands into your consciousness, your motivation becomes hijacked by other people's priorities. Protect these 7 minutes like you protect your most valuable assets, because that's exactly what they are. These minutes are an investment in your energy, focus, and earning capacity for the entire day. Some mornings you'll feel like moving, other mornings you won't. Move anyway. Motivation is unreliable, but movement is always available. On days when you feel energized, this routine will amplify that energy. On days when you feel sluggish, this routine will create energy from nothing. Consistency in small things leads to success in big things, and there's no smaller commitment with bigger returns than 7 minutes of daily movement. Your body is your most important business tool. It carries your brain to every meeting, supports your energy through every negotiation, and projects your confidence in every interaction. Treat it with the same care you'd give any valuable asset. Feed it movement every morning, and it will feed you opportunities, energy, and results throughout every day. Move first, and everything else moves in your favor. 6. Breathwork for boardrooms. Calm power in 5 minutes. Your breath is the most underutilized tool in your success arsenal. While others reach for their third cup of coffee or pop another stress pill, millionaires have discovered something far more powerful and immediately accessible. They've learned that controlling their breath means controlling their state, their focus, and ultimately their results. Think about the last time you walked into an important meeting, presentation, or high-stakes conversation. What was happening in your body? Your heart rate likely quickened, your thoughts scattered, and your breath became shallow and rapid. This is exactly when most people lose their edge. But the wealthy know a secret. 5 minutes of intentional breathing can transform nervous energy into calm confidence and scattered thinking into laser focus. The morning breath ritual isn't about meditation, retreats, or complex spiritual practices. It's about practical power. When you master your breathing, you master your nervous system. When you master your nervous system, you show up differently in every room you enter. People sense it immediately. There's a presence, a groundedness that commands respect and attention. Your autonomic nervous system operates in 2 primary modes throughout the day. The sympathetic state keeps you alert and ready for action, while the parasympathetic state allows for rest, recovery, and clear thinking. Most people spend their entire day stuck in sympathetic overdrive, wondering why they feel frazzled and make poor decisions. Morning breathwork teaches your system to move fluidly between these states on command. The beauty of breath training lies in its immediate accessibility. You don't need equipment, subscriptions, or special locations. Your breath is always with you, waiting to be directed with intention. 5 minutes invested each morning creates the foundation of calm alertness that serves you through every challenge the day presents. Start with the box breathing technique, a method used by everyone from elite athletes to military personnel. Find a comfortable seated position with your spine naturally straight. Close your eyes or soften your gaze downward. Begin by exhaling completely through your mouth, releasing any stale air and tension from the previous day. Now inhale through your nose for a count of 4, allowing your belly to expand naturally. Hold that breath for 4 counts, feeling the fullness and stability it creates. Exhale through your mouth for 4 counts, releasing completely. Hold empty for 4 counts before beginning the next cycle. This creates a perfect square pattern that your nervous system recognizes as safety and control. Continue this rhythm for 3 to 5 minutes, allowing each breath to deepen your sense of groundedness. If you find your mind wandering, simply return your attention to counting. The counting itself becomes an anchor, preventing the mental chatter that typically dominates morning hours. Another powerful technique for morning preparation is the physiological sigh, a pattern that rapidly shifts your system from stress to calm. Take a normal inhale through your nose, then add a second, smaller inhale on top of the first one. This double inhale pattern fully expands the tiny air sacs in your lungs that often collapse during stress. Follow with a long, slow exhale through your mouth. Repeat this pattern 5 to 10 times, and notice how quickly your entire system settles. The 4-7-8 pattern offers another pathway to morning clarity. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts, hold for 7, then exhale completely through your mouth for 8 counts. This extended exhale activates your rest and digest response, creating the optimal state for creative thinking and strategic planning. 3 to 4 rounds of this pattern can shift your entire morning trajectory. Your breath becomes particularly powerful when linked to specific outcomes. As you breathe, set an intention for how you want to show up during the day. Perhaps you want to embody confidence during a difficult conversation, or maintain calm focus during a challenging project. Let each exhale release doubt, tension, or scattered energy. Allow each inhale to draw in the qualities you want to cultivate. The morning breath session also serves as your first victory of the day. By taking 5 minutes to consciously direct your physiology, you prove to yourself that you are in control. This small win creates momentum that carries forward into every subsequent decision and interaction. Many successful people report that their breathing practice becomes a secret weapon in high-pressure situations. They can step into a bathroom before an important meeting and use 2 minutes of intentional breathing to shift their entire state. What others see as natural confidence is actually the result of daily practice that builds this capacity. Your breathing pattern throughout the day reflects and influences your thinking quality. Shallow, rapid breathing creates scattered, reactive thinking. Deep, rhythmic breathing supports clear, strategic thinking. By establishing strong breathing patterns each morning, you set a template that your body returns to naturally throughout the day. The practice also builds what researchers call respiratory fitness. Just as physical exercise strengthens your muscles, breath training strengthens your ability to regulate your nervous system under pressure. This translates directly into better decision-making, improved emotional regulation, and enhanced leadership presence. Some mornings you might feel resistant to sitting still for breathing practice. This resistance often indicates when you need it most. On rushed mornings, even 2 minutes of conscious breathing can shift your entire day. Think of it as insurance against the chaos that awaits. Those 2 minutes protect you from hours of scattered energy and reactive responses. Create a specific location for your morning breath practice. This might be a particular chair, a spot near a window, or even your car before entering the office. Having a designated space helps anchor the habit and signals to your system that it's time to shift into intentional mode. Track your breathing practice with simple awareness of how you feel before and after each session. Notice changes in your energy level, mental clarity, and overall sense of readiness for the day. This internal feedback becomes more valuable than any external measurement. Your morning breathwork sets the tone for how you handle stress throughout the entire day. Instead of being at the mercy of external circumstances, You carry within you a tool for returning to calm, focused presence whenever needed. This internal resource becomes more valuable than any external advantage. The compound effect of daily breathing. Practice extends far beyond the 5 minutes you invest each morning. It builds resilience, enhances decision-making capacity, and creates an unshakable foundation of inner stability that others recognize and respond to instinctively. This is how 5 minutes of breath becomes a lifetime of calm power. 7. Cold, heat, or contrast. Energy without espresso. The human body is a remarkable machine that responds predictably to certain stimuli. While most people stumble through their first hour desperately searching for their coffee maker, millionaires understand that the fastest path to alertness doesn't come from a cup. It comes from deliberately shocking your system in a controlled, brief way that floods your bloodstream with natural energy compounds more powerful than any artificial stimulant. Your ancestors didn't need caffeine to feel alert in the morning. They stepped outside into cool air, felt the temperature difference against their skin, and their bodies immediately responded with a cascade of hormones designed to make them sharp, focused, and ready for action. This ancient biological programming still exists within you, waiting to be activated with nothing more than a simple temperature shift. The science behind thermal exposure is elegant in its simplicity. When your body encounters a sudden change in temperature, it triggers the release of norepinephrine, a neurotransmitter that acts as both a hormone and a stimulant. Unlike caffeine, which can create jitters and crashes, norepinephrine provides clean, sustained alertness that improves mood, sharpens thinking, and increases your tolerance to everyday stressors. The effect begins within seconds and can last for hours. What makes this practice particularly valuable for high achievers is that it requires no equipment, no expensive supplements, and takes less time than brewing coffee. You can accomplish this energy boost in 60 to 90 seconds, making it one of the most efficient tools in your morning arsenal. The key is understanding that you don't need extreme temperatures or dangerous exposure to trigger the response. Your body is so finely tuned that even modest temperature changes, when applied consistently, create profound results. Consider the cold approach first, as it tends to be the most accessible for most people. This doesn't mean plunging into an ice bath or standing in a freezer. At the end of your regular morning shower, simply turn the water temperature down to a level that feels uncomfortable but not painful. Stay under this cooler water for 30 to 60 seconds while focusing on your breathing. Your initial reaction will be to tense up and hold your breath, but resist this urge. Instead, take slow, deliberate breaths and allow your body to adapt to the sensation. During those seconds under the cool water, your nervous system shifts from its sleepy morning state into high alert. Blood flow increases to your vital organs, your heart rate elevates slightly, and your mind becomes remarkably clear. Many successful people report that this simple practice eliminates the mental fog that typically clouds the first hour of their day. The beauty of this approach is that you're already in the shower, so it requires no additional time in your schedule. For those who prefer warmth or live in climates where cool water isn't readily available, heat exposure can provide similar benefits through a different mechanism. A hot shower, followed by a brief cool rinse, creates what's called hormetic stress, a mild shock that strengthens your system rather than weakening it. If you have access to a sauna, even 5 minutes of heat exposure followed by a return to room temperature air can trigger the same alertness response. The contrast method combines both approaches and may be the most powerful option for those who can accommodate it. This involves alternating between hot and cold exposure in short intervals. You might spend 1 minute under hot water, followed by 30 seconds of cold, then repeat the cycle once more. This contrast creates a more dramatic physiological response and can be particularly effective for people who have built up a tolerance to single temperature exposure. Beyond the shower, there are numerous ways to incorporate beneficial temperature exposure into your morning routine. A brisk 10-minute walk outdoors when the air temperature is cooler than your indoor environment can provide similar benefits while also giving you natural light and gentle movement. This approach is particularly valuable because it combines multiple beneficial practices into one efficient activity. Some people find that simply splashing cold water on their face and wrists is enough to trigger an alertness response. The face and wrists have blood vessels close to the surface, making them particularly sensitive to temperature changes. This method takes less than 30 seconds and can be done anywhere, making it ideal for travel or situations where a shower isn't available. The key to making thermal exposure work for you is consistency rather than intensity. Your body adapts to regular stimuli, so a moderate temperature change applied daily will produce better results than an extreme experience attempted occasionally. Think of this as a gentle daily reminder to your nervous system that it's time to be alert and focused, not as a test of your pain tolerance. Starting this practice requires some experimentation to find what works best for your schedule and comfort level. Begin with the mildest version that still feels noticeable. If you're using cool water at the end of your shower, start with just 15 seconds at a temperature that's uncomfortable but not shocking. Gradually increase the duration as your body adapts. The goal is to create a sustainable practice that you can maintain every day, not to prove how much discomfort you can endure. Pay attention to how your body responds in the hours following your thermal exposure. Most people notice increased alertness, better mood, and improved focus that lasts well into their workday. Some report better tolerance for stressful situations and a greater sense of calm confidence during challenging moments. These benefits compound over time, with regular practitioners often finding that they feel more resilient and energetic throughout their entire day. The timing of your thermal exposure matters as much as the method you choose. This practice works best when done early in your morning routine, ideally within the first 30 minutes of waking. If you wait too long, other activities and stimuli can interfere with the clean energy boost that temperature exposure provides. Think of this as setting the energetic tone for your entire day. For those concerned about the safety of temperature exposure, remember that you're aiming for discomfort, not danger. The water should feel cold or hot, but never painful. You should always be able to breathe normally and to maintain control of your movements. If you have any medical conditions that might be affected by temperature changes, consult with a healthcare provider before beginning this practice. One of the most valuable aspects of incorporating thermal exposure into your morning routine is that it builds what psychologists call distress tolerance. By voluntarily experiencing mild discomfort first thing in the morning, you're training your mind to stay calm and focused when facing other challenges throughout your day. This mental training effect may be even more valuable than the immediate energy boost. The practice also serves as a powerful anchor for your morning routine. Unlike activities that require decision-making or complex preparation, thermal exposure is binary. You either do it or you don't. This simplicity makes it an ideal habit for building consistency in your overall morning practice. As you develop this habit, you'll likely find that you begin to crave the alertness and clarity it provides. Many successful people describe their morning temperature exposure as one of the most valuable parts of their day, not because it's comfortable, but because of how capable and energetic it makes them feel. This positive association strengthens over time, making the practice easier to maintain. The beauty of using thermal exposure for morning energy is that it works with your body's natural systems rather than against them. You're not adding caffeine that needs to be processed and can disrupt sleep later, or consuming sugar that will lead to an energy crash. Instead, you're simply activating alertness mechanisms that evolution designed to help you perform at your best. 8. Prime the mind. Gratitude, goals, and gains. The alarm sounds, your feet hit the floor, light fills your eyes, water flows down your throat, and your body starts moving. You have successfully launched your biochemistry into focus mode. Your muscles are awakened, your breath is controlled, and your nervous system is primed for peak performance. But there remains one critical component that separates those who simply go through morning motions from those who transform their entire existence through intentional morning practice. Your mind needs direction. Without conscious mental preparation, even the most physically energized person will scatter their attention across a dozen different priorities, react to whatever urgent matter screams loudest, and end their day wondering where all their time and energy disappeared. The wealthy understand something that escapes most people. Your thoughts in the first few minutes after physical activation determine whether you spend your day building wealth or merely surviving the chaos. Consider the difference between two people who wake at the same time, drink the same water, breathe the same way, and move their bodies identically. The first person immediately starts thinking about everything that could go wrong today, all the problems waiting for attention, and how overwhelming their schedule appears. The second person takes 5 minutes to intentionally direct their thoughts toward what is working well, what they want to accomplish, and what progress they have already made. By the time both people leave their homes, they carry completely different energy into their day. This is not positive thinking or wishful dreaming. This is strategic mental conditioning that creates measurable results. When you begin each day by deliberately focusing your attention on gratitude, goals, and gains, you activate neural pathways that enhance problem-solving ability, increase motivation, and improve decision-making throughout the entire day. Your brain literally becomes more capable of recognizing opportunities, generating creative solutions, and maintaining focus on high-value activities. The practice requires no special equipment, no expensive tools, and no complex techniques. You need only paper, pen, and 5 minutes of uninterrupted time. Yet, this simple practice has the power to shift your entire life trajectory because it transforms how you think about your circumstances, your capabilities, and your future. Gratitude serves as the foundation because it immediately shifts your mental state from scarcity to abundance. When you wake up, your mind naturally gravitates toward problems, pressures, and things that need fixing. This problem-focused mindset creates stress hormones that impair creative thinking and decision-making. Gratitude interrupts this pattern by training your attention on what is already working well in your life. The practice is deceptively simple. Write down 3 things you feel genuinely grateful for in this moment. These do not need to be profound or life-changing items. You might write about the comfortable bed you slept in, the clean water flowing from your tap, or the fact that your body woke up healthy and functional. You might express gratitude for a conversation you had yesterday, a skill you have developed, or simply the opportunity to start fresh today. The key lies in feeling the gratitude rather than merely listing items. When you write that you are grateful for your health, pause and actually notice how it feels to have a body that moves, breathes, and functions without conscious effort. When you write about a person in your life, allow yourself to feel appreciation for their presence and impact. This emotional engagement activates the neural circuits that create lasting change in your mental patterns. Regular gratitude practice rewires your brain to notice positive aspects of your experience throughout the day. Instead of focusing exclusively on problems and obstacles, you begin automatically recognizing resources, opportunities, and progress. This shift in attention creates a cascade of beneficial effects. You make better decisions because you can see more options. You maintain higher energy because you are not constantly fighting against your circumstances. You attract better relationships because people enjoy being around those who appreciate rather than complain. After establishing this foundation of appreciation, you direct your mind toward your most important goal for the day. Not your entire life vision, not your 5-year plan, but the single most valuable thing you can accomplish before sunset. This practice forces clarity about what truly matters versus what merely feels urgent. Most people begin their days reactive to whatever demands immediate attention. They check messages, respond to requests, and tackle whatever problem appears most pressing. By the end of the day, they have been busy but not necessarily productive. They have handled many small tasks but may not have moved meaningfully closer to their larger objectives. Writing down your top goal for the day creates intentional focus that guides every subsequent decision. When opportunities arise, you can quickly evaluate whether they support your daily goal or distract from it. When problems emerge, you can determine whether they require immediate attention or can be addressed later without derailing your priority. This clarity transforms scattered effort into concentrated progress. Your daily goal should be specific enough that you will know without question whether you accomplished it. Instead of writing "work on project," write "complete first draft of presentation slides." Instead of "exercise," write "walk for 30 minutes." Instead of "plan next quarter," write "finalize 3 strategic priorities and schedule implementation meetings." The specificity serves multiple purposes. It eliminates the mental energy wasted on deciding exactly what to do when the time comes to act. It prevents the subtle self-deception that allows you to feel productive while avoiding the most challenging aspects of important work. It creates clear success criteria that generate genuine satisfaction when achieved. As you write your daily goal, visualize yourself completing it successfully. See yourself taking the final action step, feeling the satisfaction of accomplishment, and moving forward with increased momentum. This mental rehearsal primes your subconscious mind to notice opportunities and resources that support achievement throughout the day. The third element of your 5-minute mental preparation focuses on gains you have already made. This practice serves as a powerful antidote to the achievement trap that keeps many ambitious people perpetually dissatisfied. When you constantly focus on what you have not yet accomplished, you create a psychological state of chronic inadequacy that undermines confidence and motivation. Writing about your recent wins, progress, and positive momentum reminds you that you are already moving in the right direction. These gains can be small daily victories, progress on longer-term projects, or recognition of personal growth. You might write about a difficult conversation you handled well, a skill you are developing, or simply the fact that you are consistently implementing your morning routine. The practice trains your mind to notice and celebrate progress rather than dismissing achievements and immediately focusing on the next challenge. This shift creates sustainable motivation because you draw energy from your growing track record of success rather than depending on external validation or future outcomes. When you acknowledge your gains, you also reinforce the identity of someone who gets results. Your subconscious mind pays attention to the evidence you provide about who you are and what you are capable of achieving. By regularly documenting your wins and progress, you build internal conviction that supports bigger goals and bolder actions. The combination of gratitude, goals, and gains creates a powerful mental framework for success. Gratitude establishes a resourceful, emotional state. Your daily goal provides clear direction for your energy and attention. Recognition of gains builds confidence and momentum. Together, these elements transform your internal experience from reactive survival mode to proactive creation mode. The practice takes exactly 5 minutes, but influences the subsequent 16 waking hours. You begin each day with appreciation for what you have, clarity about what you want to accomplish, and confidence based on what you have already achieved. This mental foundation enables you to make better decisions, maintain higher energy, and sustain motivation through inevitable challenges and setbacks. The writing itself serves as a form of meditation that quiets mental chatter and creates inner stillness. In our noisy, distracted world, these 5 minutes of focused reflection may be the only time you spend in genuine contact with your own thoughts and feelings. This brief period of introspection helps you stay connected to what truly matters rather than getting swept away by external demands and expectations. Your 5-minute morning journal becomes a presented record of your mental development and progress over time. When you review entries from previous weeks or months, you can see patterns in your thinking, track the achievement of goals, and recognize how your gratitude practice has expanded your awareness of positive aspects of your life. This review process reinforces your growth and provides motivation to continue the practice even when results are not immediately obvious. The simplicity of the format makes it sustainable regardless of your schedule, location, or circumstances. Whether you are at home, traveling, or dealing with unexpected disruptions, you can always find 5 minutes and a way to capture your thoughts. This consistency builds the neural pathways that create lasting change in how you think and feel. Write it right, and you set the trajectory for a day of intentional progress rather than reactive chaos. 9. Vision casting. Script your future like a CEO. You can't build what you can't see. This simple truth separates those who drift through life from those who design it. Every morning, millionaires don't just wake up and react to whatever comes their way. They wake up with a crystal-clear picture of where they're headed, and that vision pulls them forward like a magnet through every decision, every challenge, and every opportunity. Most people live their lives like passengers on a bus, watching the scenery pass by and hoping they end up somewhere good. Wealthy people understand they need to be the driver, holding a detailed map of their destination. Your morning routine isn't just about productivity tricks or energy hacks. It's about consistently reconnecting with your future self and the life you're building, one day at a time. The problem with most goal-setting approaches is they focus on what you want to achieve rather than who you need to become. When you script your future like a successful leader, you start with identity first. You ask yourself not just, what do I want, but who am I becoming, and how does that person think, act, and show up every single day? This shift changes everything, because behavior flows from identity, not the other way around. Think about how successful people carry themselves. They move through the world with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing exactly where they're going. They don't second-guess every decision because they have a framework for what aligns with their vision and what doesn't. They don't get knocked off course by setbacks because they see each obstacle as a temporary detour on a predetermined path. This kind of clarity doesn't happen by accident. It happens through daily practice of vision casting. Your vision needs to be more than wishful thinking or vague hopes. It needs to be so vivid and detailed that you could walk through your future life like you're giving someone a tour of your home. You should be able to describe not just what you'll have, but how you'll feel, how you'll spend your time, what problems you'll be solving, and what impact you'll be making. The more specific and emotionally compelling your vision becomes, the more power it has to influence your daily choices. Most people avoid this kind of detailed future thinking because it feels overwhelming or unrealistic. They worry about setting themselves up for disappointment if things don't work out exactly as planned. But successful people understand that the purpose of a vision isn't to predict the future with perfect accuracy. The purpose is to create a compelling direction that consistently pulls you toward growth, opportunity, and aligned action. When you take 5 minutes each morning to review and refine your vision, you're programming your mind to notice opportunities that support your goals and filter out distractions that don't serve you. Your brain has a remarkable ability called the reticular activating system that helps you see what's important to you. When you're clear about your destination, you start noticing resources, connections, and possibilities that were always there but invisible to someone without direction. The most powerful visions operate on multiple time horizons simultaneously. You need a clear picture of where you want to be in 12 months. But you also need to understand how that connects to your deeper purpose and longer-term legacy. Your one-year vision should feel exciting and achievable while also being a meaningful step toward something bigger. This creates both urgency and patience. Urgency to take consistent action now, and patience to stay committed when results take time to materialize. Your vision should answer 3 fundamental questions that drive all human motivation. What am I moving toward? What am I moving away from? And why does this matter beyond just me? The first question creates excitement and direction. The second creates urgency and commitment. The third creates meaning and resilience. When your morning vision review touches on all 3, you're tapping into the same psychological drivers that fuel long-term success. Identity statements are where vision becomes practical. These are simple declarations about who you are becoming, written in present tense as if they're already true. Instead of saying, I want to be financially free, you write, I am someone who makes money work for me. Instead of, I hope to be healthier, you write, I am someone who treats my body as a valuable asset. These statements help you make decisions from your future identity rather than your current circumstances. Operating principles take this one step further by defining how your future self shows up in the world. These are the non-negotiable standards and values that guide your behavior regardless of external circumstances. They might include principles like, I always do what I say I'll do, or I invest in relationships before I need them, or I choose long-term growth over short-term comfort. When you know your operating principles, you can make decisions quickly and confidently because you have a framework that transcends any specific situation. The key to making vision casting work is treating it as a living document rather than a static plan. Your vision should evolve as you grow, learn, and encounter new possibilities. What matters is maintaining the discipline of daily connection with your future self and allowing that connection to influence your present choices. Some mornings you'll add new details. Some mornings you'll adjust the timeline. Some mornings you'll simply reinforce what's already there. The consistency of the practice matters more than perfection of the content. Many people struggle with vision work because they try to figure out the entire path before they start walking. Successful people understand that clarity comes through action, not before it. Your vision provides direction, but you'll discover the specific steps as you move forward. You don't need to see the whole staircase to take the first step. You just need to be clear about which floor you're trying to reach. The morning is the perfect time for vision work because your mind is fresh and free from the reactive patterns that dominate most of the day. You haven't yet been pulled into other people's agendas or urgent but unimportant tasks. You can connect with your deeper intentions before the world starts making demands on your attention. This morning connection acts like a compass that keeps you oriented toward true north throughout the day. Your vision review should feel inspiring, not overwhelming. If it creates anxiety or feels like pressure, you're probably being too rigid or unrealistic about timelines. The goal is to feel pulled forward by exciting possibilities, not pushed forward by fear or obligation. Your future self should feel like someone you genuinely want to become, someone whose life you would genuinely enjoy living. The most successful people treat their vision like a daily appointment with their recessed future self. They show up consistently, not because they feel like it, but because they understand the compounding power of small, repeated connections with their larger purpose. Over time, this daily practice creates an unshakable sense of direction that influences every decision, every relationship, and every opportunity that comes their way. When you wake up tomorrow morning, you have a choice. You can start your day by reacting to whatever demands immediate attention, or you can start by reconnecting with the future you're building. You can live like a passenger hoping for the best, or like a driver following a carefully chosen destination. The 5 minutes you spend on vision casting each morning might be the most valuable 5 minutes of your entire day, because they determine the direction of all the minutes that follow. See it, be it, morning by morning. 10. Task triage. The one domino before 9 a.m. Every morning, millions of people wake up and immediately drown in their own to-do lists. They check their phones, see 17 urgent messages, remember 43 things they forgot to do yesterday, and start their day feeling like they're already behind. By 9 a.m., they've been busy for hours but haven't moved the needle on anything that truly matters. This is the difference between motion and progress, between being productive and being profitable. Wealthy people understand a fundamental truth that escapes most. Not all tasks are created equal. Some tasks pay you $10 worth of value, others pay you $10,000. The secret isn't doing more things, it's doing the right thing first when your energy and focus are at their peak. This is the power of the one domino. Think of dominoes arranged in a perfect line. Push the first one, and it topples the second, which topples the third, and soon the entire chain falls in a beautiful cascade. But here's what most people miss. It only works if you push the right domino first. Push a domino in the middle of the chain, and nothing happens to the ones before it. Push a domino that's not even part of the chain, and you've wasted your energy entirely. Your morning routine needs that first domino, the one task that, when completed, makes everything else easier or unnecessary. The one domino isn't your biggest task or your hardest task or even your most urgent task. It's your highest leverage task, the one that creates the most value with the least resistance. When you identify and complete this task before 9 a.m., you've already won the day. Everything else becomes bonus points. Consider the successful business owner who spends 30 minutes each morning writing one page of the book that will establish her as an industry expert. That single page doesn't seem like much, but over a year, it becomes a published book that brings in speaking engagements, consulting clients, and premium opportunities. Compare that to spending those same 30 minutes answering emails or organizing her desk. The time investment is identical, but the long-term impact is vastly different. Or think about the salesperson who uses his peak morning energy to make calls to his highest value prospects instead of updating spreadsheets or attending routine meetings. Those morning calls, made when his voice is fresh and his confidence is high, consistently close bigger deals than the scattered calls he makes later in the day when he's tired and distracted. The one domino works because it respects 3 fundamental truths about human psychology and productivity. First, Your willpower and decision-making ability are finite resources that deplete throughout the day. What feels manageable at 7 a.m. can feel overwhelming at 3 p.m. Second, completing something meaningful early creates momentum and confidence that carries through the rest of your day. Third, when you tackle your highest leverage task first, even if the rest of your day goes sideways, you've still moved forward on what matters most. Identifying your one domino requires brutal honesty about what actually drives results in your life and work. Most people confuse urgent with important, or they choose tasks that feel productive but don't create lasting value. The urgent email feels more pressing than writing the proposal that could land a major client, but the proposal is clearly the higher leverage choice. The meeting request seems important because someone else is waiting, but the strategic planning session you keep postponing is what will actually grow your business. Start by asking yourself a simple question. If you could only accomplish one thing before 9 a.m., what would create the most value for your future self? Not what would make you feel busy or important, but what would actually move you closer to your goals. The answer is usually something that requires deep thinking, creativity, or focused attention, exactly the kind of work that benefits from your fresh morning mind. Your one domino often falls into one of several categories. It might be a creative task, like writing, designing, or strategizing. It could be a relationship task, like having an important conversation or reaching out to a key contact. It might be a learning task, like studying something that will increase your skills or knowledge. Or it could be a decision-making task, like analyzing options and choosing a direction for a project or opportunity. The key is to choose your one domino the night before, during your evening shutdown routine. This prevents you from wasting precious morning mental energy on decisions and keeps you from defaulting to whatever feels most urgent when you sit down at your desk. Write it down clearly, along with what success looks like. Instead of writing, "work on presentation," write, "complete the first draft of slides, 1 to 10 for the client presentation." Specific success criteria prevent you from meandering or settling for less than what you intended. Protect your one domino time, like a guard protects treasure. This means no email, no phone calls, no meetings, and no administrative tasks until after you've completed your domino. It means saying no to the colleague who wants to chat about their weekend and postponing the vendor who wants to discuss contract details. Your one domino gets the best of your attention, not the leftovers. Create a ritual around starting your one domino work. This might be as simple as making a specific type of tea, clearing your workspace, or writing the task at the top of a fresh piece of paper. The ritual signals to your brain that it's time for focused, important work. Over time, this ritual becomes a trigger that automatically shifts you into a productive mindset. Time box your one domino work, but be generous with the time you allocate. Most people underestimate how long meaningful work takes, then feel rushed and stressed when they run over. If you think a task will take 30 minutes, block out 45. If you think it needs an hour, give yourself 90 minutes. The buffer prevents the anxiety of watching the clock and allows you to do your best work when obstacles arise, and they will have a plan for pushing through. Maybe you discover you need information you don't have, or the task proves more complex than expected. Instead of abandoning your one domino and switching to easier tasks, ask yourself what portion you can still complete. Can you draft an outline even without the final data? Can you make progress on one section while waiting for feedback on another? The goal is to maintain the habit of tackling your highest leverage work first, even when conditions aren't perfect. Some days, your one domino will take 20 minutes. Other days, it might expand to fill 2 hours because you're in a flow state and making exceptional progress. Both outcomes are victories. The point isn't to limit yourself to a specific time frame, but to ensure that your most important work gets your best energy and attention. Track your one domino completion over time. Keep a simple log of what you chose each day and whether you completed it before 9 a.m. You'll start to notice patterns in what you select, what you actually finish, and what creates the most downstream value. This awareness helps you get better at identifying true leverage points and avoiding tasks that feel important but don't drive results. The compound effect of completing your one domino daily is extraordinary. After a month, you'll have made meaningful progress on 30 high-leverage activities while most people are still trying to get organized. After a year, you'll have built something significant while others are still busy with the same routine tasks they were doing 12 months ago. The difference isn't talent or luck, it's the disciplined application of focused energy to what matters most. Your one domino transforms your morning from a reactive scramble into a proactive victory. It ensures that regardless of what chaos the day might bring, you've already moved the needle on something important. This creates a sense of accomplishment and control that influences every other interaction and decision throughout your day. Tomorrow morning, before you check your messages or dive into your regular tasks, identify and complete your one domino. Choose something that will still matter a year from now, something that builds rather than just maintains. Give it your freshest thinking and your fullest attention. Push that first domino, and watch how it changes not just your morning, but the entire trajectory of your day and your future. 11. Deep Work Sprint. The 52-17 Protocol. The human brain wasn't designed for the scattered attention that defines modern work. While most people ping-pong between tasks, checking messages every few minutes and mistaking busyness for productivity, those who build real wealth understand a different truth. Sustained focus creates disproportionate results. The ability to concentrate without distraction on cognitively demanding tasks separates high performers from everyone else. This is where the 52-17 protocol transforms your morning from scattered chaos into concentrated power. Based on patterns observed in the most productive workers, this approach alternates between intense focus periods and deliberate recovery breaks. 52 minutes of undivided attention, followed by 17 minutes of purposeful rest, creates a rhythm that your brain can sustain while producing exceptional output. Most people believe they can focus for hours at a time, but research reveals the opposite. Attention naturally fluctuates in cycles, and fighting against these biological rhythms leads to mental fatigue and diminishing returns. The 52-17 protocol works with your brain's natural patterns instead of against them. During the 52-minute focus block, your mind enters a state of deep concentration, where complex problems become manageable and creative solutions emerge naturally. The 17-minute break prevents mental exhaustion and actually enhances your ability to focus during the next sprint. Think of your attention as a muscle that strengthens with proper training but weakens with overuse. Just as a weightlifter alternates between intense sets and recovery periods, your brain performs best when focus periods are balanced with restoration. The 17-minute break isn't wasted time. It's an investment in maintaining peak mental performance throughout your morning routine. Setting up your first deep work sprint requires eliminating every possible distraction before you begin. Your phone should be in another room, not just silenced. Notifications from your computer need to be completely disabled, not simply minimized. Even the presence of these devices can fragment your attention, as part of your mind remains alert for incoming messages. Create a workspace that contains only what you need for your chosen task and nothing else. The 52-minute focus period begins the moment you start your timer, not when you finish organizing your desk or checking one last message. Sit down, start the timer, and immediately begin working on your predetermined task. The first few minutes might feel awkward as your mind tries to wander toward easier activities, but this resistance is normal. Push through these initial moments of mental friction, and you'll find your concentration deepening naturally. During the focus period, treat every interruption as a threat to your most valuable resource. If you remember something urgent that needs attention later, write it down quickly and return to your task without dwelling on it. If someone tries to interrupt you, politely defer the conversation until your break. Protecting these 52 minutes requires the same vigilance you'd use to protect any other valuable asset. Your mind will attempt various forms of resistance during deep work. You might suddenly feel thirsty, remember an important task, or convince yourself that checking one quick message won't hurt. These impulses are normal responses to sustained mental effort, not genuine emergencies. Acknowledge these thoughts without acting on them, then redirect your attention back to your work. Each time you resist these distractions, you strengthen your ability to focus. The quality of your focus matters more than the duration of your session. 52 minutes of genuine concentration produces more value than 3 hours of interrupted, scattered work. When you notice your mind beginning to drift, gently bring your attention back to the task without judgment or frustration. This redirection process is part of building stronger focus, not a sign of failure. As your timer approaches the 52-minute mark, resist the temptation to continue working past the endpoint. Even if you're in a productive flow state, taking the scheduled break protects your ability to maintain this level of focus during subsequent sprints. Honor the protocol exactly as designed, trusting that the rest period will enhance rather than diminish your overall productivity. The 17-minute break requires as much intentionality as the focus period. This isn't time to check messages, browse websites, or engage with any form of digital stimulation. Instead, choose activities that genuinely restore your mental energy. A brief walk, especially outdoors, helps reset your attention and provides the gentle physical movement your body needs after sitting. Light stretching releases physical tension that accumulates during concentrated work. Deep breathing during your break helps regulate your nervous system and prepares your mind for the next focus session. Spend a few minutes taking slow, deliberate breaths while letting your thoughts wander naturally. This mental wandering isn't laziness. It's how your brain processes information and makes connections that weren't obvious during focused work. Hydration becomes crucial during these breaks, as mental work depletes your body's resources more than you might realize. Drink water slowly and mindfully, using this simple activity as a form of moving meditation. Avoid caffeine during breaks unless you're certain it won't create energy spikes and crashes that interfere with sustained focus. The 17-minute break also provides an opportunity to assess your progress and prepare for the next sprint. Spend the final minute of your break reviewing what you accomplished during the previous focus period and clarifying your intention for the upcoming session. This brief transition helps your mind shift back into deep work mode more quickly. Most people can sustain one high-quality 52-17 cycle during their morning routine, though some may have the capacity for 2 cycles depending on their schedule and energy levels. Start with 1 sprint and assess how you feel afterward. If you finish the first cycle feeling energized rather than depleted, and you have sufficient time remaining in your morning routine, consider adding a second sprint. However, quality always trumps quantity when it comes to focused work. The tasks you choose for your deep work sprints should be cognitively demanding and important to your long-term goals. These aren't moments for responding to routine messages or organizing files, but for tackling work that requires your full intellectual capacity. Writing, strategic planning, complex problem-solving, creative work, and learning new skills are ideal candidates for deep work sessions. Before beginning each sprint, define exactly what you want to accomplish during the 52 minutes. Vague intentions lead to unfocused effort, while specific goals create natural momentum. Instead of planning to work on a project, decide to complete a specific section, solve a particular problem, or produce a defined output. This clarity helps your mind engage more quickly and stay on track throughout the session. At the end of each deep work sprint, take 60 seconds to capture what you accomplished and any insights that emerged during the session. This brief documentation serves multiple purposes. It provides a sense of completion, helps you track your progress over time, and captures valuable thoughts that might otherwise be forgotten. Keep these notes simple and factual rather than elaborate or judgmental. The 52-17 protocol transforms your relationship with time and attention. Instead of feeling overwhelmed by large projects or scattered across multiple priorities, you develop confidence in your ability to make meaningful progress on what matters most. This daily practice of sustained focus strengthens your capacity for deep work and creates a competitive advantage that compounds over time. Consistency with this protocol matters more than perfection. Some mornings, your focus might feel sharper than others, and external circumstances might occasionally disrupt your routine. Rather than abandoning the practice when conditions aren't ideal, adapt it to fit your situation while maintaining the core principles of alternating focus and rest. As you integrate deep work sprints into your morning routine, you'll notice changes that extend far beyond increased productivity. Your confidence grows as you consistently tackle challenging tasks during your peak energy hours. Your stress levels decrease as you make steady progress on important work rather than constantly feeling behind. Most importantly, you develop the rare ability to think deeply and produce high-quality output in a world increasingly defined by superficial engagement and scattered attention. The 5217 protocol isn't just a productivity technique, it's a gateway to the kind of sustained focus that creates exceptional results and lasting wealth. 12. Fuel. Like the 1%. Smart caffeine and breakfast strategy. Your body is a machine that runs on fuel. And like any high-performance machine, the quality and timing of that fuel determines everything. The wealthy understand this principle better than most. They know that energy is their most valuable currency, and they protect it with the same intensity they protect their investments. Yet most people pour gasoline on their energy fire first thing in the morning, then wonder why they crash and burn by afternoon. The difference between sustained, focused energy and the roller coaster ride most people experience comes down to understanding how your body processes fuel. When you wake up, your body has been fasting for 8 to 12 hours. Your glycogen stores are depleted, your cortisol is naturally elevated to help you wake up, and your adenosine receptors are clear and ready to receive caffeine signals. This is a delicate biochemical ballet, and most people stumble through it like they're wearing concrete shoes. The first mistake people make is reaching for caffeine the moment their feet hit the floor. Your body naturally produces cortisol in the morning as part of your circadian rhythm. This hormone is already doing the job of waking you up and making you alert. When you flood your system with caffeine while cortisol is still high, you create a chemical traffic jam. The caffeine can't do its job effectively because the cortisol is already occupying the driver's seat. This leads to tolerance, dependence, and the need for more and more caffeine to achieve the same effect. The wealthy have learned to work with their biology, not against it. They understand that delaying caffeine for 60 to 90 minutes after waking allows their natural cortisol to do its job first. During this window, they hydrate, move their body, and begin their morning routine. By the time they introduce caffeine, their cortisol has started to decline naturally, making room for the caffeine to provide clean, sustained energy rather than jittery desperation. Think of it like this. If you're trying to have a conversation with someone who's already talking, you both end up shouting and nobody gets heard clearly. But if you wait for them to finish speaking, your voice carries clearly and effectively. Cortisol and caffeine work the same way. Give cortisol its moment, then let caffeine take the stage. When you do introduce caffeine, the quality and method matter enormously. The wealthy don't grab whatever's convenient or cheapest. They understand that caffeine is a tool, not a crutch. They choose high-quality sources, whether that's freshly ground coffee, organic tea, or other natural sources. They avoid the sugar-laden, artificially flavored options that create more problems than they solve. The key is to think of caffeine as a precision instrument rather than a sledgehammer. You want just enough to enhance your natural energy, not so much that you're wired and anxious. Most people overconsume caffeine because they're trying to compensate for poor sleep, dehydration, lack of movement, or eating habits that drain energy rather than sustain it. When you address these root causes, you need far less caffeine to feel sharp and focused. Timing your first meal is equally important. Your body's insulin sensitivity is highest in the morning, which means you can handle carbohydrates more effectively than you can later in the day. However, this doesn't mean you should start your day with a sugar bomb. The wealthy understand that stable blood sugar equals stable energy, stable mood, and stable decision-making ability. The choice between eating breakfast immediately or delaying it depends on your individual response and your goals for the morning. Some people thrive with a protein-forward breakfast that provides sustained energy without blood sugar spikes. Others perform better with a period of fasting that allows them to tap into mental clarity and focus that comes from stable blood sugar. If you choose to eat breakfast, protein should be the foundation. Protein provides steady energy, supports neurotransmitter production, and keeps you satisfied longer than carbohydrates or fats alone. This doesn't mean you need to eat like a bodybuilder, but including a substantial amount of protein sets you up for sustained energy throughout the morning. The wealthy also understand the power of healthy fats in the morning. Fats slow digestion, provide steady energy, and support hormone production. They don't fear fat the way diet culture has taught most people to. Instead, they embrace sources like nuts, seeds, avocados, and high-quality oils as fuel for sustained performance. What you avoid is just as important as what you include. The typical breakfast foods that line grocery store shelves are designed for convenience and shelf life, not for your energy or performance. Cereals, pastries, bagels, and other processed breakfast foods create blood sugar spikes followed by crashes. These crashes leave you reaching for more caffeine, more sugar, or both, creating a cycle that drains your energy and focus throughout the day. If you choose to delay breakfast, understand that this isn't about starving yourself or following the latest diet trend. It's about giving your digestive system a rest and allowing your body to tap into stored energy. Many wealthy people find that their mental clarity is sharpest in a fasted state, making this an ideal time for deep work, creative thinking, or important decisions. The key to successful fasting is staying properly hydrated. Your body can go without food much longer than it can go without water. Continue drinking water throughout your fasted period, and consider adding a pinch of high-quality salt to support hydration and electrolyte balance. Whether you eat immediately or delay breakfast, hydration remains the foundation. Your brain is roughly 75% water, and even mild dehydration affects cognitive function, mood, and energy levels. The wealthy prioritize hydration not because it's trendy, but because they can feel the difference in their performance when they're properly hydrated versus when they're not. Room temperature or slightly warm water is often better absorbed than ice-cold water first thing in the morning. Your digestive system is just waking up, and shocking it with extremely cold liquid can actually slow down hydration rather than speed it up. Add a slice of lemon or a pinch of high-quality salt if you want to enhance absorption and add minerals that support cellular function. The goal is to create energy stability rather than energy peaks and valleys. Think of your energy like a steady flame rather than fireworks. Fireworks are exciting for a moment, but they burn out quickly and leave you in the dark. A steady flame provides consistent light and warmth for as long as you need it. Track your energy levels throughout the day as you experiment with different approaches to morning fuel. Rate your energy on a scale from 1 to 10 at regular intervals. Notice patterns. Do you feel more stable energy when you delay caffeine? Does protein-forward breakfast serve you better than fasting? Does the quality of your caffeine source make a difference in how you feel hours later? Your body is constantly giving you feedback about what works and what doesn't. The wealthy have learned to listen to this feedback rather than following generic advice or popular trends. They understand that the best fuel strategy is the one that supports their specific goals, schedule, and physiology. Your morning fuel strategy affects everything that follows. Poor fuel choices create afternoon crashes, evening cravings, and sleep disruptions that affect the next morning's routine. Good fuel choices create sustained energy, stable mood, and better sleep that sets you up for success the following day. This is how small, consistent choices compound into dramatically different outcomes over time. 13. Inbox Zero Morning. Digital gatekeeping for focus. Your attention is your most valuable asset. Every time you check your phone, open your email, or scroll through social media, you're making a withdrawal from your account of focus. Most people wake up and immediately hand over control of their mental energy to whoever decided to send them a message overnight. They start their day in reactive mode, responding to other people's priorities instead of advancing their own. The wealthy understand something that the average person doesn't. They know that the first hour of their day should belong entirely to them. They guard their morning attention like a fortress, protecting it from the constant digital noise that tries to pull them in every direction. While others are frantically checking notifications and feeling overwhelmed before they even get out of bed, millionaires are using their fresh mental energy to move their biggest priorities forward. Think about what happens when you grab your phone within minutes of waking up. Your brain, which was calm and clear just moments before, suddenly gets flooded with dozens of different thoughts and concerns. There's an urgent email from a client, a social media post that makes you feel envious, a news headline that creates anxiety, and text messages that require responses. Within 5 minutes, your mind has scattered in 10 different directions, and you've lost the focused mental state that could have been channeled into meaningful work. This is why digital gatekeeping is not just a productivity technique, it's a wealth-building strategy. When you protect your morning attention from digital distractions, you preserve your ability to think deeply, solve problems creatively, and make progress on the work that actually generates income. Every notification you allow into your morning is stealing mental energy that could be invested in activities that compound over time. The mathematics of attention work against most people. They spend their highest quality mental energy consuming information instead of creating value. They use their sharpest focus to read other people's thoughts instead of developing their own ideas. They invest their clearest thinking time in reacting to problems instead of preventing them. Meanwhile, the wealthy flip this equation. They use their peak mental hours to generate, not consume. Starting your morning without checking messages isn't about being antisocial or irresponsible. It's about being strategic with your cognitive resources. Your brain has a limited amount of high-quality focus available each day, and most of it is available in the first few hours after you wake up. Once you fragment that focus by jumping between different digital inputs, it becomes much harder to reassemble it for deep, concentrated work. The gatekeeping approach means treating your attention like the precious resource it is. Just as you wouldn't leave your front door wide open for strangers to walk through, you shouldn't leave your mental space wide open for every digital distraction to enter. You need boundaries, filters, and intentional barriers that allow only the most important information to reach you during your peak productivity hours. Consider how different your morning would feel if you spent the first hour focused entirely on your most important work instead of responding to messages. Instead of feeling scattered and reactive, you'd feel centered and proactive. Instead of starting the day with a sense of overwhelm, you'd begin with a sense of accomplishment. Instead of giving your best energy to other people's agendas, you'd invest it in advancing your own goals. The wealthy know that most digital communication isn't actually urgent, despite how it feels. That email that seems pressing at 7 in the morning will be just as manageable at 9 o'clock, but your ability to do focused, high-value work diminishes significantly once your attention has been scattered. By delaying your first check of messages until after you've completed your most important morning work, you ensure that your peak mental energy goes toward activities that build wealth rather than activities that simply manage it. This doesn't mean ignoring your digital responsibilities entirely. It means being intentional about when and how you engage with them. Instead of checking messages reactively throughout the morning, you create specific times for processing communication. Instead of leaving notifications turned on all the time, you establish windows when you're available and periods when you're focused on deep work. The practice starts with recognizing that your phone is not an alarm clock, it's a portal to distraction. When you use your phone as an alarm, you're placing a powerful source of distraction within arm's reach of your bed. The moment you reach over to turn off the alarm, you're one tap away from email, social media, news, and messages. Instead, use a traditional alarm clock and leave your phone in another room, or at least across the room, during your morning routine. Create physical barriers between yourself and digital distractions. This might mean leaving your laptop closed until after you've completed your morning routine, or putting your phone in airplane mode until you've finished your most important work. The goal is to make accessing digital distractions require intentional effort rather than allowing them to pull your attention without resistance. Batch your message processing into specific time blocks rather than checking constantly throughout the morning. Instead of looking at email every few minutes, designate 2 or 3 specific times when you'll process all your messages at once. This approach is far more efficient than the constant switching between focused work and message checking that characterizes most people's mornings. Set up filters and systems that ensure truly urgent communications can reach you while filtering out the noise. This might mean setting up special ringtones for emergency contacts, or using email filters that separate high-priority messages from routine correspondence. The goal is to be responsive to what matters, without being reactive to everything. When you do check messages, have a clear system for processing them quickly and effectively. Don't just read emails and then read them again later. Decide immediately whether each message requires action, response, or filing, and handle it accordingly. This prevents your inbox from becoming a source of ongoing mental clutter. The compound effect of protecting your morning attention becomes more powerful over time. When you consistently use your peak mental energy for high-value activities instead of low-value distractions, you create momentum that builds throughout the day and throughout your career. The work you complete during your protected morning hours often represents the most important progress you'll make toward your long-term goals. Digital gatekeeping isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. There will be days when urgent situations require you to check messages earlier than usual. And that's fine. The key is making protected focus time your default mode rather than reactive availability. When checking messages early becomes the exception rather than the rule, you maintain the benefits of the system while staying flexible enough to handle genuinely urgent situations. The people who build significant wealth understand that their attention is finite and valuable. They don't give it away freely to whoever wants it. They invest it strategically in activities that generate the highest returns. By implementing digital gatekeeping in your morning routine, you join the ranks of people who treat their mental energy as their most precious resource and protect it accordingly. Guard the gates of your attention, and your attention will reward you with the focus and clarity needed to build the life you want. 14. Time blocking mastery. Calendar as a cash machine. Your calendar is not just a schedule. It's a blueprint for your financial future. Every blank space represents untapped potential. Every scattered appointment signals lost opportunity. Every morning that lacks intentional structure is a morning that works against your wealth-building goals rather than for them. Most people treat their calendars like suggestion boxes, cramming meetings wherever they fit and hoping productivity happens in the leftover moments. The wealthy think differently. They understand that time is their most precious asset, and they guard their most productive hours like treasure. They know that if something doesn't appear on their calendar with dedicated time and clear boundaries, it simply won't happen with the intensity required to create extraordinary results. The difference between a calendar that creates wealth and one that creates chaos comes down to one principle: intentional blocking. When you block time for your highest value activities during your peak energy hours, you're essentially scheduling money into your day. When you leave your morning, open to whatever feels urgent in the moment, you're scheduling stress, reaction, and mediocrity. Think about how the most successful people you know approach their mornings. They don't wake up wondering what they'll work on. They already know because they've blocked specific time for specific outcomes. They don't check email first thing because they've blocked their peak mental energy for deep work. They don't skip exercise because they've made it non-negotiable by giving it real estate on their calendar. Your morning block should be sacred territory. This is not the time for meetings that could happen later. This is not the time for administrative tasks that drain your mental energy. This is premium real estate in your day, and it deserves premium activities. Your morning block should house your one domino, your deep work sprint, and any creative or strategic thinking that requires your absolute best mental capacity. The magic number for most high achievers is a 3-hour morning block. This gives you time to complete your launch sequence, knock out your most important work, and handle 1 or 2 additional high-leverage activities before the world starts demanding your attention. Some people can accomplish their morning goals in 2 hours. Others need 4. The key is consistency and protection of whatever time frame you choose. Creating effective morning blocks starts with honest assessment of your peak energy patterns. Pay attention to your mental clarity throughout the day for 1 full week. Notice when complex thinking feels effortless and when it feels like pushing through mud. Notice when creative ideas flow naturally and when you find yourself staring at problems without solutions. This awareness will help you identify your true peak performance window, which might be different from what you assume. Most people experience their highest cognitive function within the first 2 to 4 hours after waking, assuming they've had adequate sleep. This is when your brain is least cluttered by the day's inputs, when your decision-making capacity is strongest, and when your ability to focus deeply is at its maximum. This is why successful people are so protective of their mornings. They understand they're working with premium mental resources that won't be available later in the day. Once you've identified your peak window, the next step is creating buffer zones. Your morning block needs breathing room on both sides. If you schedule your deep work to end at 9 and your first meeting to start at 9, you've set yourself up for stress and incomplete work. Build in 15 to 30 minutes of transition time. Use this buffer to wrap up your morning work properly, review what you've accomplished, and mentally prepare for the shift in energy that comes with meetings and collaboration. Color-coding your calendar transforms it from a simple schedule into a visual dashboard of your priorities. Assign specific colors to different types of work. Deep work might be dark blue. Administrative tasks might be yellow. Meetings might be green. Exercise and personal care might be red. When you look at your week, you should immediately see the ratio of high-value work to lower-value activities. If you see too much yellow and green and not enough blue, you know you need to reclaim some territory for the work that actually moves the needle. Theme days take time blocking to the next level by grouping similar activities together. Instead of scattering meetings throughout the week, you might designate Tuesdays and Thursdays as meeting days. Instead of handling administrative work randomly, you might batch it all into Friday afternoons. This approach reduces the mental energy lost to context switching and allows you to maintain momentum within similar types of work. Your weekly calendar review should happen every Sunday evening or Monday morning. This is when you scan the upcoming week and make strategic adjustments. Look for meetings that could be combined, moved, or eliminated entirely. Look for gaps where important work could happen. Look for potential conflicts between your energy levels and your scheduled activities. A meeting that requires sharp negotiation skills probably shouldn't be scheduled for late afternoon when your mental energy is depleted. The Sunday review is also when you ensure your morning blocks are properly protected. If someone has scheduled a meeting during your peak productivity hours, this is your chance to move it or decline it altogether. Remember, every yes to a low-value activity during peak hours is a no to high-value work that could significantly impact your results. Defending your morning block requires both internal discipline and external boundaries. Internally, you must resist the urge to fill empty time with busy work. Just because you finish your planned deep work in 45 minutes instead of an hour doesn't mean you should check email with the remaining 15 minutes. Use that time to go deeper into your work, to think more strategically about your approach, or to simply sit quietly and let your mind process what you've accomplished. External boundaries mean training others to respect your schedule. This starts with clear communication about your availability. Let colleagues, clients, and even family members know that your morning hours are blocked for focused work. Most people will respect these boundaries once they understand they're non-negotiable. The problems arise when you're inconsistent about protecting your time, which sends the message that your boundaries are actually suggestions. Technology can either support your time blocking or destroy it. Use your calendar app's features to set automatic reminders, create recurring blocks, and even block time for preparation and follow-up around important activities. Set your phone to Do Not Disturb mode during your morning block. Use website blockers if necessary to prevent unconscious browsing. The goal is to remove as much friction as possible from your high-value work and add friction to activities that pull you off track. The most successful time blockers also understand the power of saying no. Every request for your time should be evaluated against your blocked priorities. If someone wants to meet during your deep work hours, your default response should be to offer alternative times. If a project doesn't align with your quarterly goals, it doesn't deserve space on your calendar regardless of how interesting or urgent it might seem. Time blocking is a skill that improves with practice. Your first attempts will likely involve overestimating or underestimating how long activities take. You'll probably schedule too much and end up feeling rushed, or too little and end up with awkward gaps. This is normal and expected. Keep adjusting based on real data about how you actually work, not how you think you should work. The ultimate goal of time blocking mastery is to reach a point where your calendar works for you rather than against you, where your most important work happens during your most capable hours, where you end each day knowing you invested your time in activities that compound toward your long-term goals, where your calendar reflects your values and priorities rather than other people's urgencies and expectations. When you look at your calendar, you should see a clear path toward your bigger objectives. Every blocked hour should serve a purpose in your overall strategy for growth and success. This is how calendars become cash machines. Not by accident or hope, but by design and intention. Block it to bank it, because time invested strategically always pays the highest returns. 15. Habits stacking and triggers. Automation over motivation. Your morning routine isn't built on willpower. If you're relying on motivation to get you out of bed and through your sequence of success habits, you're setting yourself up for failure. Millionaires understand a fundamental truth about human behavior. We don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the level of our systems. The wealthy don't wake up each morning and decide whether they feel like doing their routine. They've engineered their environment and their habits so that doing the right things becomes automatic. Think about your current morning right now. You probably don't decide whether to brush your teeth. You don't have an internal debate about whether coffee sounds appealing. You don't weigh the pros and cons of checking your phone. These actions happen because they're triggered by something that came before them. You wake up, your feet hit the floor, and suddenly you're moving through a sequence of behaviors that require almost no conscious thought. The difference between people who maintain powerful morning routines and those who struggle is that successful people have learned to hijack this automatic system. They understand that every habit needs a trigger, and they've become masters at creating trigger chains that lead to wealth-building behaviors instead of time-wasting ones. When you walk into your kitchen and see your coffee maker, that visual cue triggers the desire for coffee. When your phone buzzes, that sound triggers the urge to check it. When you sit down at your computer, that action triggers the habit of opening your email. These triggers are already running your life. The question is whether they're running it in the direction you want to go. The millionaire approach is to take control of these triggers and stack new habits onto existing ones. If you already have the habit of making coffee every morning, you can stack a new habit right onto that existing behavior. If you already brush your teeth every morning, that's a perfect anchor for something new. The key is to attach the behavior you want to develop to something you're already doing consistently. Here's how this works in practice. Let's say you want to develop the habit of writing in a journal every morning, but you keep forgetting or skipping it. Instead of relying on willpower, you create an if-then plan. If I pour my coffee, then I immediately sit down and write 3 things I'm grateful for. You're not trying to remember to journal. You're using the coffee ritual you already do as the trigger for the new behavior. This approach works because you're not fighting against your brain's natural patterns. You're working with them. Your brain is constantly looking for mental shortcuts, ways to automate decisions so it can save energy for more important tasks. When you stack habits together, you're giving your brain exactly what it wants, a clear sequence that doesn't require decision-making. The most successful people have morning routines that flow together like links in a chain. They wake up, and one behavior automatically leads to the next. They don't stop to think about what comes next, because each action triggers the following one. Wake up, feet on floor, walk to bathroom, splash water on face, look out window for natural light, drink glass of water, put on workout clothes, do movement routine, take shower, make coffee, sit down to write. Each step happens because the previous step triggered it. But triggers aren't just about chaining habits together. They're also about designing your environment so that good choices become obvious and bad choices become harder. If you want to drink more water in the morning, put a full glass by your bed before you sleep. If you want to do your movement routine, lay out your workout clothes where you'll see them first thing. If you want to write in your journal, leave it open on your kitchen table next to your coffee maker. The wealthy understand that your environment is constantly voting for the kind of person you're becoming. Every object in your bedroom, every app on your phone, every item on your kitchen counter is either making good habits easier or making bad habits more tempting. Millionaires design their spaces to make success automatic. This means removing triggers for behaviors you want to avoid. If you don't want to check your phone first thing in the morning, don't keep it next to your bed. If you don't want to eat sugary cereal for breakfast, don't keep it in your kitchen. If you don't want to waste time watching videos, don't have that app on your phone's home screen. Every trigger you remove is one less decision you have to make with limited morning willpower. The most powerful habit stacks create what researchers call implementation intentions. Instead of saying, I will exercise in the morning. You say, after I brush my teeth, I will immediately put on my workout clothes and do 7 minutes of movement. The more specific your if-then plan, the more likely you are to follow through. Your brain likes clear instructions. You can also use location as a trigger. Many successful people have specific spots in their homes that are dedicated to specific activities. They have a corner where they always do their morning breathing exercises. They have a chair where they always sit to write in their journal. They have a spot by the window where they always stand to look outside and set their intention for the day. These physical triggers become so strong that simply being in that location makes them want to do the associated behavior. Time can be a trigger too, but it's usually weaker than behavioral or environmental triggers. Saying, I'll meditate at 6:30 is less reliable than saying, after I drink my first glass of water, I'll sit in my meditation chair and close my eyes. Time-based triggers depend on you remembering and being in the right place at the right time. Habit stacks depend on you doing things you're already doing anyway. The key to building powerful habit stacks is to start small and be patient. Don't try to attach 5 new habits to your morning coffee routine. Pick one. Make it tiny. Make it so small that it's almost impossible to fail. After you pour coffee, write 1 sentence in your journal. After you brush your teeth, do 10 squats. After you look out the window, take 3 deep breaths. Once these micro-habits feel automatic, you can gradually expand them. Many people make the mistake of thinking that if a habit feels easy, it's not valuable. But the goal in the beginning isn't to get maximum results from each habit. The goal is to establish the trigger connection in your brain. You want your brain to learn that coffee leads to journaling, that brushing teeth leads to movement, that looking outside leads to breathing exercises. Once those neural pathways are strong, expanding the habits becomes much easier. Another crucial element of successful habit stacking is celebration. When you complete your habit stack, take a moment to acknowledge what you just did. Feel good about it. This positive emotion helps cement the behavior pattern in your brain. The feeling of satisfaction becomes part of the reward loop that makes you want to repeat the behavior tomorrow. You also need to plan for obstacles. What happens if you're traveling and don't have your usual coffee routine? What happens if you're staying in a place where you can't do your usual movement sequence? Create backup triggers and simplified versions of your habits that you can do anywhere. The goal is to maintain the trigger pattern even when the circumstances change. The most successful habit stacks are personal. What works for someone else might not work for you because your existing routines and triggers are different. Pay attention to what you already do consistently every morning, and use those behaviors as anchors for new habits. If you always check the weather, use that as a trigger. If you always feed your pet, use that as an anchor. If you always make your bed, stack something onto that routine. You're not just building habits, you're building identity. Every time you follow through on your habit stack, you're proving to yourself that you're the kind of person who does what they say they'll do. You're becoming someone who has systems instead of someone who relies on motivation. You're training yourself to think like a millionaire, systematically, automatically, and successfully. The morning routine that will change your life isn't the one that requires you to be a different person. It's the one that works with who you already are and gradually shapes you into who you want to become. Build your triggers, stack your habits, design your environment, and let automation carry you toward wealth. 16. Metrics that matter. Track, tweak, triumph. Most people drift through their mornings like ships without compasses, wondering why they never reach their destination. They wake up with good intentions, stumble through disconnected activities, and arrive at 9 o'clock with no clear sense of progress or momentum. The wealthy understand something different. They know that what gets measured gets managed, and what gets managed gets multiplied. Your morning routine isn't just a collection of habits. It's a precision instrument for creating wealth, and like any instrument, it requires calibration. The difference between someone who maintains a powerful morning practice for decades and someone who abandons it after a few weeks often comes down to one thing: measurement. When you track the right metrics, you transform vague intentions into concrete results. You replace hope with data. You turn your morning into a reliable machine for generating success. The challenge lies in knowing what to measure. Most people either track nothing at all, or they track everything and drown in data. Both approaches fail because they miss the fundamental principle of effective measurement. You need just enough information to guide your decisions, but not so much that tracking becomes a burden. The sweet spot is 5 key indicators that capture the essence of your morning performance without consuming your energy. Think of these metrics as your morning dashboard. Just as a pilot doesn't need to monitor every gauge simultaneously, but focuses on the critical few that indicate overall flight performance, you need a small set of measurements that tell you whether your routine is working. These numbers become your early warning system, showing you when something needs adjustment before small problems become big obstacles. The first metric that matters is wake time consistency. This isn't about waking up at a specific hour. It's about waking up within the same 20-minute window every day. Your body craves rhythm, and when you establish a consistent wake pattern, everything else becomes easier. Track how many minutes you vary from your target wake time each day. If you aim for 6:30 and wake up at 6:45, that's a 15-minute variance. The goal is to keep this variance under 20 minutes for at least 5 days each week. Consistency creates capacity. When your wake time stabilizes, your sleep deepens, your energy increases, and your willpower strengthens. People often underestimate this metric because it seems too simple, but consistency is the foundation upon which everything else is built. A routine that starts at random times isn't a routine at all. It's just a collection of activities that may or may not happen depending on how you feel. The second crucial metric is deep work minutes. This measures how much time you spend in focused, uninterrupted work before 9 o'clock. Deep work is the activity that moves you closest to your goals. It's writing, creating, strategizing, or problem solving. It's not checking messages, organizing files, or attending routine meetings. Deep work transforms time into value, and your ability to accumulate these minutes consistently determines your long-term success. Start by tracking any period of 20 minutes or more spent on meaningful work without interruption. Don't worry about the specific number at first. Focus on establishing the habit of measurement. As your routine strengthens, you'll naturally accumulate more deep work minutes. The wealthy have learned to protect these minutes like precious resources because they understand that 20 minutes of focused work in the morning often produces more value than hours of scattered activity later in the day. Your third key metric is whether you shipped your one domino. This is a simple yes or no measurement. Either you completed your most important task before 9 o'clock, or you didn't. There's no partial credit and no excuses. This binary measurement cuts through complexity and forces clarity. You either moved your most important project forward, or you spent your morning on lesser priorities. Tracking one domino completion reveals patterns you might otherwise miss. You'll notice that certain days of the week are more challenging, or that specific types of tasks are harder to complete in the morning. This information helps you make better decisions about what to tackle when. Over time, you'll find that consistently shipping your one domino creates extraordinary momentum in your most important projects. The fourth metric is movement before 10 o'clock. Count your steps or track minutes of physical activity, whichever feels more natural to you. The goal isn't to become an athlete. It's to ensure that you're activating your body early in the day. Movement creates the biochemical foundation for mental performance. It increases blood flow, releases mood-enhancing chemicals, and prepares your nervous system for focused work. This metric helps you notice the connection between physical activity and mental performance. On days when you move more, you'll likely find that you think more clearly and feel more energetic throughout the day. This data reinforces the habit and helps you prioritize movement even when time feels scarce. The fifth and final metric is screen time before 9 o'clock. This measures how many minutes you spend looking at phones, computers, or other devices before completing your core routine. Lower numbers are better. Ideally, you want this number to be 0 until after you've finished your one domino and completed at least 30 minutes of deep work. This metric acts as a guardrail for your attention. Screens are designed to capture and fragment your focus. When you track screen time, you become aware of how often you unconsciously reach for devices. You'll notice patterns like checking your phone immediately after waking, or reflexively opening certain apps during transitions between activities. Awareness is the first step toward change. The power of these 5 metrics lies not in the individual numbers, but in how they work together to paint a picture of your morning performance. When all 5 are trending in the right direction, you're building real momentum. When one or more starts to slip, you have early warning that something needs attention. Review your metrics weekly, not daily. Daily fluctuations are normal and expected. Weekly patterns reveal the true trends. Look for gradual improvement over time rather than perfect scores every day. The goal is progress, not perfection. Small, consistent improvements compound into extraordinary results over months and years. When you notice a metric declining, resist the urge to change everything at once. Make one small adjustment and observe the results for a week. Perhaps your wake time is becoming inconsistent because you're going to bed later. Or maybe your deep work minutes are declining because you're checking messages too early. Address one issue at a time with surgical precision. Keep your tracking simple. Use a basic notebook, a simple app, or a spreadsheet with 5 columns. Fancy tools don't improve results. Consistency does. The best tracking system is the one you'll actually use every week without fail. If measurement becomes a burden, you've made it too complicated. These metrics transform your morning routine from a vague aspiration into a precise tool for creating wealth. They provide feedback, reveal patterns, and guide improvements. Most importantly, they prove that your investment in morning time is paying dividends. When you can see your progress clearly, maintaining your routine becomes easier and more rewarding. The wealthy understand that measurement is not about judgment or perfection, it's about optimization. These 5 metrics give you the information you need to continuously refine your approach, ensuring that your morning routine remains a powerful engine for creating the life and wealth you desire. 17. Travel and chaos-proof routines. Keep the streak anywhere. The most dangerous moment in building your millionaire morning routine isn't the first day when motivation runs high. It's day 23 when your flight gets delayed and you're sleeping in an unfamiliar hotel room. It's the morning after your child kept you up all night, or when construction outside. Your window starts at 5 in the morning instead of your planned 6:30 wake time. These disruptions don't just threaten one morning, they threaten to shatter the entire foundation you've been building. Here's what separates those who build lasting wealth from those who start strong but fade. The wealthy understand that consistency during chaos matters more than perfection during calm. They know that maintaining momentum through disruption is what transforms a routine into an unshakable identity. The difference between a temporary habit and a permanent transformation lies in your ability to adapt without abandoning ship. Most people approach their morning routine like a house of cards, beautiful, when everything aligns perfectly, but collapsing at the first strong wind. The wealthy approach their routines like a Swiss Army knife, compact, versatile, and functional in any situation. They design their routines not just for ideal conditions, but specifically for the worst-case scenarios that life inevitably delivers. The secret lies in understanding the difference between your full routine and your minimum viable morning. Your full routine is what you execute when conditions are perfect, you're at home, you slept well, your schedule is clear, and nothing unexpected has thrown you off course. But your minimum viable morning is what keeps you connected to your identity and momentum when everything goes wrong. It's the non-negotiable core that you can execute anywhere, anytime, in any condition. Your minimum viable morning should take no more than 10 minutes and require nothing but your body and mind. Start with light. Even if you're in a windowless hotel room, you can step outside for 30 seconds or turn on every light in the room. The goal isn't perfect morning sunlight. It's signaling to your brain that the day has begun intentionally. Follow with water, drink whatever you can access, even if it's from a bathroom tap. The ritual matters more than the source. Next comes breath. 2 minutes of focused breathing that you can do, sitting on a hotel bed, standing in an airport bathroom, or even while walking to an early meeting. Choose one breathing pattern and stick with it regardless of location. This becomes your portable anchor, a way to center yourself no matter how chaotic the environment around you might be. Movement comes next. adapted to your space and circumstances. If you're in a tiny hotel room, focus on bodyweight squats and gentle stretches. If you're staying with family who are still sleeping, step outside for a brief walk or do silent movements in a bathroom or closet. The goal isn't your full workout, it's maintaining the neural pathway that connects movement with morning intention. Finally, identify your one domino for the day, even if you can only take the smallest possible step toward it. If your normal domino is writing for an hour, your minimum viable version might be writing one paragraph on your phone. If your domino is usually making important calls, it might be drafting one key email. The power lies not in the size of the action, but in honoring your commitment to forward progress, regardless of circumstances. The key to travel-proofing your routine starts before you ever leave home. Pack a go bag with everything you need to execute your minimum viable morning. Include a water bottle, comfortable clothes for movement, noise-canceling headphones or earplugs, and any small items that anchor your routine. Keep this bag packed and ready, so travel preparation never becomes an excuse for abandoning your practice. When you arrive at a new location, spend 5 minutes setting up your space for success. Clear a small area where you can move and breathe. Locate the nearest place to get morning light. Set out water and clothes for the morning. Program your phone with local sunrise times. These small preparation steps eliminate decision fatigue and friction when you wake up in an unfamiliar environment. Time zone changes require special attention because they disrupt both your sleep and your internal clock. When traveling east, start shifting your routine earlier by 15 minutes each day for several days before departure. When traveling west, do the opposite. If you can't prepare in advance, prioritize light exposure at your new location's morning time immediately upon arrival, even if you feel terrible. Your routine becomes the anchor that helps your body adapt faster than it would otherwise. Hotels present unique challenges, but they also offer unique opportunities. Most hotels have 24-hour lighting, reliable water, and climate control luxuries that aren't always available at home. Use the privacy of a hotel room to your advantage. No one will judge your movement routine or breathing exercises. No family members will interrupt your journaling. The unfamiliar environment can actually enhance your focus if you approach it with the right mindset. When staying with friends or family, communication becomes crucial. Explain your routine in advance, emphasizing that it's brief and won't interfere with their schedule. Most people respect dedication when it's explained kindly. Wake up earlier than the household if necessary to create quiet space for your practice. Maintaining your routine often inspires others rather than inconveniencing them. Business travel offers its own set of challenges and opportunities. Early flights can actually support your routine by requiring you to wake early and move through airports, natural light, and walking built into your schedule. Use travel time productively by doing breathing exercises during takeoff and landing, when anxiety naturally runs higher. View layovers as opportunities for movement and hydration rather than frustrating delays. The most important mindset shift is viewing disruption as training rather than failure. Every time you successfully execute your minimum viable morning under challenging circumstances, you're not just maintaining your routine, you're strengthening it. You're proving to yourself that your commitment runs deeper than convenience. You're building anti-fragility, the quality that makes you stronger rather than weaker when stressed. Track your consistency through disruptions separately from your consistency during normal conditions. Celebrate the mornings when you honor your commitment despite challenges. These victories often feel more meaningful than perfect mornings at home because they required more intention and resilience. They become reference points that build confidence in your ability to maintain important practices regardless of what life throws at you. The goal isn't to make travel and disruption invisible, it's to remain connected to your identity and momentum through them. Some mornings will be harder than others. Some minimum viable mornings will feel inadequate compared to your full routine. This is normal and acceptable. What matters is that you never lose sight of who you're becoming, and you never go more than one day without taking some action that reinforces that identity. The wealthy understand that life is inherently chaotic and unpredictable. They don't try to eliminate disruption, they design systems that bend without breaking. Your minimum viable morning becomes proof that your transformation doesn't depend on perfect conditions. It depends on your commitment to showing up in some form, no matter what. When in doubt, do the minimum. The minimum, consistently applied, creates maximum results over time. 18. The 90-Day Millionaire Morning Challenge. 90 days from now, you could be living a completely different life. Not because you won the lottery or stumbled upon some secret formula, but because you chose to transform the first 2 hours of every single day. This is your invitation to join the ranks of those who understand that wealth begins before the world wakes up. The difference between dreaming about change and actually creating it lies in one simple truth. Consistency over time creates compound results. Just as a river carves through solid rock, not through force, but through persistent flow, your morning routine will reshape your entire existence through the power of daily repetition. Most people approach change like they're trying to boil the ocean. They attempt to overhaul their entire life in a single weekend, only to crash and burn by Wednesday. The Millionaire Morning Challenge takes a different approach. We build your new identity one morning at a time, one habit at a time, until the person staring back at you in the mirror is someone you barely recognize. The first 2 weeks form your foundation. During this phase, you master the core elements that every successful morning requires. Your focus centers on 3 non-negotiables. Waking at your chosen time within 20 minutes every single day. Completing your 3-minute launch sequence of light, water, and breath, and identifying your one domino task before touching any device. These might seem simple, almost too simple. But remember that skyscrapers are built on foundations, not rooftops. Your wake time becomes sacred during these initial days. Set your alarm for the same time every morning, including weekends, with only a 30-minute flexibility window on days off. Use the 2-alarm system, where the first alarm serves as a gentle warning and the second demands immediate action. The moment that second alarm sounds, your feet hit the floor. No negotiation, no snoozing, no excuses. This single act of self-discipline creates a ripple effect that influences every decision you make throughout the day. The launch sequence follows immediately. Seek natural light within 5 minutes of waking, whether by opening curtains, stepping outside, or positioning yourself near a bright window. Your brain craves this signal that day has begun. Drink a full glass of water to rehydrate your system after hours without fluid intake. Complete 2 minutes of focused breathing, whether through simple, deep breaths or a more structured technique. These 3 actions flip your biology from sleep mode to peak performance mode faster than any cup of coffee ever could. Weeks 3 and 4 introduce movement and mental priming. Add the 7-minute mobility circuit to activate your body and the 5-minute journal practice to focus your mind. The movement need not be intense or complicated. Simple bodyweight exercises, stretches, or even dancing to your favorite song accomplishes the goal. The key lies in consistency, not intensity. Your body begins to crave this morning movement, creating a natural momentum that carries into your work. The journal practice follows a simple format. 3 things you feel grateful for, your top goal for the day, and 1 thing already working in your favor. This combination trains your brain to notice abundance while maintaining focus on what matters most. Write by hand when possible, as the physical act of writing creates stronger neural pathways than typing on a screen. During weeks 5 and 6, you introduce deep work sprints using the 52 and 17 protocol. After completing your foundation routine, you dive into 52 minutes of focused work on your most important task. Remove all distractions, silence notifications, and guard this time like treasure. Follow with 17 minutes of recovery through walking, breathing, or light stretching. Many participants discover they accomplish more during these single sprints than they previously achieved in entire mornings. Weeks 7 and 8 focus on digital boundaries. You learn to treat your attention as your most valuable asset, protecting it from the constant demands of email, social media, and news. Implement a strict no-device policy until after completing your 1 domino task. Set specific times for checking messages rather than responding to every ping and buzz. Create sacred spaces in your home where devices are not welcome. The discipline required during this phase often proves the most challenging. Your phone will feel like a phantom limb, constantly calling for attention. Resist the urge to check just one thing. Millionaires control their attention while others allow their attention to be controlled. Every moment you spend scrolling through feeds is a moment stolen from building your future. Weeks 9 and 10 introduce advanced time-blocking strategies. Your calendar transforms from a passive record of appointments into an active tool for wealth creation. Block specific times for specific types of work. Protect your morning block like you would protect a meeting with your most important client, because that is exactly what it represents. Create themed days where certain types of work cluster together, reducing the mental energy required to switch between different contexts. Weeks 11 and 12 prepare you for real-world challenges. Life will test your commitment through travel, illness, family emergencies, and 1,000 other disruptions. Develop your minimum viable morning, a 10-minute routine you can execute anywhere, anytime, under any circumstances. Pack a travel kit with everything needed to maintain your routine away from home. Learn to adapt without abandoning your commitment. The final week serves as both celebration and recalibration. Review your progress, noting changes in energy, focus, productivity, and overall life satisfaction. Calculate the compound effects of your consistency. If you completed just 80% of your planned morning routines, you still executed 72 more intentional mornings than you would have without this challenge. That represents 72 opportunities to move closer to your goals while others remain trapped in reactive mode. Set stakes that matter to you personally. Share your commitment with someone who will hold you accountable. Choose rewards that reinforce your new identity rather than undermine it. Consider donating money to a cause you dislike if you fail to meet your commitment, creating additional motivation to stay consistent. Track your progress with simple metrics that matter. Note your wake time, whether you completed your launch sequence, if you finished your one domino task, and how you feel at the end of each morning on a scale of 1 to 10. Weekly reviews help identify patterns and make small adjustments before problems become failures. The magic happens not during the challenge itself, but in the months and years that follow. Participants often report that the 90 days merely introduce them to their new selves. The real transformation occurs when these practices become so natural, they require no conscious effort. You simply become someone who wakes early, moves daily, thinks clearly, and executes consistently. Your future self is waiting for you 90 days from now. That version of you wakes up energized, tackles meaningful work before the world makes demands, and approaches each day from a position of strength rather than reaction. The only question remaining is whether you will make the introduction through consistent daily action or continue wondering what might have been. The challenge begins the moment you decide it begins. Not tomorrow, not Monday, not after the holidays. Choose your wake time right now. Plan your launch sequence. Identify tomorrow's one domino. Set your stakes and pick your accountability partner. 90 days from today, you will either be living as the person you have always wanted to become, or you will be exactly where you are right now, only 90 days older. The wealthy understand that time moves forward, regardless of how you spend it. The question is not whether the next 90 days will pass, but whether you will use them to build the life you want or simply let them slip by like all the others. Your morning routine is your daily vote for the person you are becoming. Make it count.